Hello everybody, a quick message up top to, it's an apology really, the recording stopped working during this talkback, and we lost a portion of recording with Liam and Morgan, and a little bit of the conversation that we had with AVC and monsterbux. However, the vast majority of the AVC and monsterbux conversation is still present, and I managed to reconnect with Liam and Morgan to talk about Sonnental again. For the second time, for a hefty dose of deja vu for the people who were at both. So that's at the end. And also, in addition to that, just as luck would have it, Alex was in the chat, and we managed to get Alex to hop in and talk about the Gardens of Light, which was the Dambusters semi-final park. So we completed the set, which was amazing. So without further ado, let's crack on with the darn thing, shall we? All right, guys, another apology to follow up the previous apology. This entire debacle was riddled with technical issues. The audio recording of my microphone has like a strange crackling in it the whole time, like there's a text message going by. I have no idea where that's coming from. It's never happened before. It just seems that we were cursed on this particular occasion. In addition to that, during the Sonnental and Garden of Light stream, there seemed to have been a global issue with Discord, meaning that people's voices were cutting out. My voice was cutting out to other people. Their voices were cutting out to me. But my voice is completely captured. I asked for people to repeat things. It's standard issue streaming stuff. You know how it is. But just to give you the pre-warning, that's how it is. Lots of love. I'll let you get on with it. Hello everybody and welcome to the penultimate New Element live stream, where we're going to be talking with the builders about all of their building secrets, all of their hard work, all of the unappreciated details that went into crafting these 5 parks that we're going to be discussing today. First on the dock is the 5th place matchup. We're not going in chronological order. We're going in order of standing as it stands right now. That's probably going to change immediately, but we're starting with the 5th place matchup, as was justified by the ever litigious RWE. Well justified and well argued. Without further ado, I would like to hand over the reins to the builders themselves. This, the Evergreen Gardeners showing Tropico, and what a park it is. How did what was the impetus for building this park?
Oh, sorry?
What inspired you to build this in particular above any other idea?
It seems a long time I want to do a kind of a Caribbean park, and I'm a huge fan of the video game Tropico.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a perfect time to try to do something with this kind of team. So we've got some different ideas for the semi-final, but they were so much cool ideas from Hydroportal, from Six Flags, but I've got the feeling that no one's were we really, I don't know, motivate, or maybe they were a bit exhausted. So I start this park just for fun, and so totally inspired by Tropico on the game Anno 1800. So just a fun park, I love. I don't know what to say more.
Amazing. Well, that makes sense to me. People get inspiration from literally anywhere, and I'm so glad that you found inspiration to build this, because one thing that jumps out to me, and I'd love to hear what you think of this, but the integration of half diagonals in this map is probably the most seamless we've seen, to the point where it just feels completely natural. What was the process like for actually building in this very organic half diagonal style? And was it, did you find yourself creating a lot of objects, or were all the objects already around for you to build with?
I really like organic things. It's something I'm really try to do in my last part, like for Seimo. I don't want something like hydroportal with really clean half diagonals, but I'm always looking for something really, really organic and really natural. So it's something a bit natural, I said. I don't know, but I did all my buildings next to the map, and I use a scenery manager to integrate them.
Yes.
And I spent so much time to find the best combination between with the buildings to try to have the best. I'm always looking for card postal view. I don't know how to say, but I want my pack. I see my pack like a big screenshot, and I really want that everything's matched together.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I really try to explode the grind.
Yes.
Sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's fail, but it's experience, I think.
Exactly. So what? When you were building it, was there? I'm not familiar with the games. Is this like based on the map, or were you freestyling with the forms and stuff and created a macro that worked for you rather than being faithful to the game?
Generally, totally freestyle. I need to have some material. So this is Tropico. So I create a huge folder with pictures, music, movie. For example, so Cuba. It's a Cuban film, Cuban movie I really love. And I put all this picture in a big file. And I start to copy some existing buildings for like 10% of the map. And it's helped me a lot to have a mood. I don't know how to say, but to emerge, to be like to understand a kind of style. I don't know how to say, but
is it like immersion? Like to feel like you're actually there?
Yeah, there is a kind of point. I understand the architecture or the mood of a Tropico game, or I don't know how to say, but it's like for Troubadour and Baladin. There is a point, a moment where I understand what I'm doing and how doing the buildings, or I don't know. And so I've got a base material on at when I'm at 10% of the map, it's totally freestyle. I don't have any macro or a plane. I'm just let the imagination speak. And lots of feeling. It's really important for me.
Well, it seems like you've really, if that's the case, it seems like you're really getting like a natural like talent going with it, because we can really see the improvement. The macro on this one is really fantastic. It's very readable. It's very easy to see like what you were going for. Really fantastic. I guess the other question I was wondering was, you're someone who I know doesn't like to leave a project unfinished. Was this like a rush at the end, or was it more the case that you were comfortable towards the end? Because it feels like a very complete map. I can't look at anywhere in particular and say, oh, this was a bit rushed. Not that that's ever a problem in head-to-head, obviously.
I started this park at the end of June. I saw to my captain some screenshot of buildings that I test. I built some buildings to show to my teams. Okay, I've got an idea of a Caribbean park. On here test for buildings. On RWE told me to just build and to see just build on you see if you feel okay. It's a result of 1 big month of work, I think. And I don't know how to say, but when I understand my park, it's not clear, but when I'm totally in a mood of my park, it's really, really easy for me to build and to have idea. So the most difficult is to find a team who match with my personality of who match with what I like and I love. So here it was really, really easy to build. I don't know if it's clear. My English is not so good.
Oh, stop. Your English is fantastic. It's certainly better than my French. Is French your first language?
Sorry?
Is French your first language?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and German in second, and English in third.
Oh, really? Well, it's fantastic. Yeah. I really admire people who speak multiple languages because I've tried and I can't seem to sort of get it down. So, très bien is what I say to that.
Merci.
Yeah, never be apologizing for that. It's only admiration coming from all of this. All of us consummate English speakers who don't have a choice but to speak English. And we really, really, really appreciate you coming and talking about this park as well, because there's just so much to talk about. In terms of your color choices and stuff, was that an easy route? Did that come naturally, or was that a lot of experimentation, like with the palette and stuff and getting the vibe down? Because it really screams that Caribbean feel without being overwhelming. Is that something that came easily, or was that a challenge?
I'm a huge fan of the Medinat palette. I think it's probably my favorite palette all of time. And at the beginning, so in my mind, I want to use this palette for this park, and I show the screenshot to my mates, and I remember Sulaki told me, "Oh, don't use this palette. We have seen this palette too many times." But to be honest, I was a bit confident in the use of this palette, and I keep my choice. Six Frags try to create for me a palette, but I think he didn't have the time to complete the palette. But I love this palette. It's a really, really deep palette with lots of graduation, variation, and she brings something. It's a magic palette. I don't know how to say, but it's a palette who transform shit into gold. That's what I say to MK 98. Yes. And yeah, it's a magic palette. Yes. A bit, yeah, I don't know, but
it has that je ne sais quoi, palette, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. This petit je ne sais quoi. These little things. But yeah, on some I was a bit disappointed because I create my own palette, and people was a bit disappointed by the colors. Not disappointed, but a bit interrogative. But I really try to be careful. Colors, it's something really important for me.
I've noticed that in a lot of your parks, that the colors are like a really really like distinct part of them. Like thinking of like the cyberpunk one from before the contest was very, you didn't make any, there was nothing ambiguous about the tone of that park, like, and that was helped because of the palette. It was just really clear what you were going for.
But just to finish with Medinat palette, I really want to use all of the colors in this palette. So basically, with Medina, we often see like brown colors from this palette, and I think it's a complete palette with really deep. So yeah, it was. I was really trustful, confident in this palette, with this palette. So yeah, I assume the choice. I'm assuming the choice. Sorry.
So people have dived a lot into this park already and found a lot of the cool details. Is there anything that like people have missed that you feel like has gone unappreciated or anything like that?
I don't know. Personally, my favorite things is the bot, the American warship. This one, because I really like to build in diagonals, and I was really proud of this. And I really like my zoo too, with the llama sculpt. Yeah, on the right. Yeah, I'm really proud of this shit. I really like this kind of buildings. I don't know, with sculpt it's a bit weird and absurd. And that's what I prefer to build, honestly. And yeah.
It's just so much cool stuff on this map. Just so much cool stuff. You've really done your team proud. You've done yourself proud. And I'm just looking forward to more Babar, because there's doubtlessly going to be more. Knowing you, you're one of the most prolific members, in my opinion. I don't know whether there's anybody who can really come close to your level of productivity in the last few years. But I, for one, I'm so over the moon that we got this one last part from you, because you didn't have to make it. So the way I look at it, this is a bonus.
This is a nightclub, a nightclub boat. A nightclub in the shape of a boat. It's one of the first buildings awesome. I built. Yeah, I really like the kind of coconut cocktails. It's so simple, but I really like this kind of things. This kind of details I love to put in my park. And yeah. No, people have seen very little details, I think. But yeah. And just about my productivity, I think that one of my secrets is I just build things I really love, and I've got so much fun to work on my own park, on my own map. And so it's really easy for me to build, because it's a real pleasure and so much fun. I really enjoy when I'm build on RCT2. So yeah.
Outstanding. Just whilst we've got some of the other folk here, Timo, what do you have to say about this park? And I guess we'll probably do like an end of season wrap up, but for a bit of spoilers on that. What was it like to build with all these amazing players as part of the Evergreen Gardeners?
Yeah, hello everyone. Very nice to be here, and also very nice to hear someone else from the team speaking in here, since I think you've all heard my voice quite often in these streams. First of all, about this park, it's obviously very amazing work from Babar, especially. It's basically a solo park from him. I think we mainly helped a bit with some small details here and there and some pathing and stuff like that. And we gave some ideas. Actually, I think that this park could have been a really great semis park. We had some ideas that would have taken the theme a little further, I think. Maybe even involving a plugin. So basically, our idea was, including that whole spy theme with the agents and stuff, and maybe make it a bit like a have some, I don't know, have some task for the viewer, like finding all the agents or something, and then when you've done the tasks, then the rocket launch or something like that was an idea we had. Would have liked to seen that involved in here, but actually,
Sounds
all in all,
familiar.
I think I'm. Yeah, it sounds really familiar, doesn't it? but actually, in the end, I'm really proud with the park we have here. I think it's a nice closing statement to the season. So that's maybe what I can say about this park. Regarding your other question about how it was on the Evergreen Gardeners in general, I also hope that we are doing like a closing voice chat someday with all the captains. Would be kind of cool. But
I hope so,
for
yeah,
now,
that would be amazing.
For now, I think like reflecting a bit, especially like on the last weeks of the season, I feel like it's a bit of a bummer that like in the moment I felt like we came together the most as a team when we built on Fish Parks and really really helped finishing it for 1-5. That was the moment head to head kind of ended. But I'm really happy that the whole team, or many on the team, agreed on maybe doing a group park in the future or something like that. I think that would be kind of cool.
Yes, please.
I think like before head to head, many of us actually haven't really worked together yet. And it's really that magic thing about head to head, like the friends you make along the way. Like before head to head, I would have never imagined to work with someone like Sixfax, for example, who I've spoken to like a few times, but never really work together on ICT, and that's really the magic about head to head. Now I kind of really want to work with that dude again. Same goes for Babar, who of course is amazing with all these small details and great architecture. Always fun themes that I really like. But regarding the whole team, it was a really relaxing experience, I think. There wasn't that much drama. Of course, there are always these kind of little discussions about what parks to build and who builds on which park, and we had some difficult days with people leaving the team or people admitting that they can't commit the time to build. But I think we really came together as a team, and we worked together quite well, and I think that's all that you want to see as a captain. I feel like especially in the end, it almost feel like the team didn't really need me to succeed, and that's the best feeling you can have as a captain, because it means you had the draft that kind of worked, and that's really nice to see.
Amazing. Beautiful words. This season of head-to-head was brutal. I can't think of a head-to-head that's been as brutal as this one, where there was just so much high-quality submissions, round after round after round. It was really knock-down, drag-out fights every round, where, someone's got to lose, and that sucks. So to have this be like a round 5 park and not be a finals park is kind of crazy, but every park that was submitted in these final rounds was amazing. And I'm sure if the Hurricanes submitted one, we would have been in the same position of saying, wow, each of these could have been in the finals. So it's such a great feeling for the community when we can feel that way, because we've just got so many dangerous players. So Evergreen Gardeners, I want to see in the chat, like, just all the love in the world for you guys, because you deserve it.
Sammy, before you continue, can I make a little hot take here?
I'll go for it. Yeah. About
what you just said, like reflecting on this season, it almost felt to me like, and maybe I'm still a bit salty about that at the moment, but it almost feels to me like it's more rewarding for you as a team to have like 3 or 4 very amazing park in round robin, and then 1 or 2 parks where you kind of see where it goes and don't really commit that much, than to build 5 consistently good parks.
Maybe, yeah. Now we're getting into like tactics, though. Save it for the captain's one. We want to get all the secrets.
I will. But I feel like we had like this talk and RCD discussion some days ago. Like if I look at our parks that we've built, I feel like they all have been kind of consistently good if you look at the ratings. But none of them really like got into the like really high territory, and maybe, I don't know, of course you're asking yourself these questions as a captain or as a former captain. I shouldn't, but I do it because it's kind of what you do in competitions. But maybe it would have been like a good call to better focus on one of the parks more, and I don't know, let others dry out a bit, but maybe that's just me right now.
Hey,
I might still need a week or 2 to reflect on everything.
I think
completely.
So. Hindsight is 2020 at the end of the day, and I think that you made the choices that felt the strongest in the moment, and I don't think you should really regret that. Because at the end of the day, you had these amazing parks, and
I definitely
that's
don't
a
regret
huge
it.
victory. Yeah.
I think in 3 or 4 years, or maybe even in a few months, people won't even remember which park won or lost. They will just remember the good parks, and that's all that counts.
Can somebody just do the maths on how many parks we got as part of this season? I'm sure it's really simple, but I'm not going to do it. I'm too busy talking to Timo. Because that's the amount of amazing parks that we got this season. Even the ones that are sort of like, we can meme on them and whatnot, they're still so full of high quality stuff that we could literally like write an essay on each one of them. It's crazy. Did Hans ever show up? Has Hans been around? Because I know that he did mention that he was wanting to just briefly check.
I don't think so, sadly.
Oh, bless him.
Yeah, it's a bit of a bummer, because like most time of the contest, he sadly didn't have a working mic. So he was there with us most times, but he couldn't speak. Would have loved to hear his voice again. Actually, we didn't have many voice chats in Evergreen Gardeners, I think, compared to other teams, how I imagine. But the ones we had were kind of. I really liked them. I really enjoyed them. It was good times.
Yeah, we're all going to be getting, as soon as the season's over, we're going to have a lot of group chats on the main channel again, I think, because that was really fun in the lead up to head-to-head. Yeah, that's been the thing I've missed, to be honest, talking to everybody as opposed to just, my beautiful teammates. The beauty of my teammates merely reminded me of the beauty of the rest of the community, so it was bittersweet to have such handsome teammates. But, by the way, I don't think anyone can refute this. Lonely Hearts Club, best-looking team, hands down. I don't want to see any contradictions in the chat. Most handsome team by far.
You mean like real-life personas?
Yeah.
Or
what else?
Okay. Interesting take. I don't think I know how every one of you guys looks.
Well, prepare to be impressed is all I'm saying. Guys, is there anything that you want to say before we move on to the next park? I I'd hate to leave any stone unturned in terms of this amazing contribution.
I think I mentioned the plugin thing. I think it's also worth mentioning that this park has no coaster. It's a non-park. Basically, I mean, it has these. Yeah, it has rides, but
that's a tracked ride. I can see it right here.
Yeah, but I think it's quite a ballsy move to not put a coaster there, but I think it works here very, very well. Maybe
I think it does as well.
I don't know.
I'm not sure what I would have put in here, which goes to show that even Coaster Boy thinks that you did.
Yeah.
You did good.
I think if this would have been our semis or finals park, maybe someone else would have tried to put a coaster in there too. I don't know, but
maybe like a Cedar Point 6 style, deep dive into RCDB to find the ugliest ride imaginable and make it look really pretty in this environment, like it's like an import that they bought really cheaply from like a traveling fair or something.
I don't know how I know our team. It probably would have been an RMC with with an underground station. That's kind of our stitch.
We've got Belgian guy to build the most elaborate and beautiful like multi-launch coaster or something.
Yeah, but the important thing is that the station is not there. It's just underground.
No, don't look at the station. Amazing.
All right. I think that's all I want to say for now. Yeah.
Amazing. Lots of love to you, lots of love to Babar, lots of love to Lurker as well for gossiping in the group chat as well. Much appreciated for all that insight that he was given in there. Sorry that I didn't highlight it, but I was getting distracted by all these beautiful voices. So lots of love to Lurker as well. Always a pleasure, never a chore. And amazing. Thank you to Babar for A, this park, and B, taking the time to come and talk to us about it. And give us his beautiful accent as well. Nothing but praise. Amazing. So who's next? Who's next for the chopping block? I believe
it's ABC and monsterbux.
Hi! I think Liam might have bagsied, but you guys have spoken up, so snooze you lose.
We... Okay.
Liam and Steve are typing, so...
Oh, I see. So we're faster on the draw here, but
yeah.
I'm visiting monsterbux here in Copenhagen, and we're at the basement of a hotel using their Wi-Fi
on my
phone to chime in here.
Amazing. A little cross planet visit.
Planets?
Well, cross country for sure. But it worked out perfectly because I was going on vacation with my partner in Europe, and we got tickets to Copenhagen because it was cheap. And then I started talking to monsterbux, and she's like, "Wait, I'm here in Copenhagen." Yeah. The dates worked out. We ended up getting drinks, getting dinner, and it just so overlapped with this talkback today. So we were here together. We just had dinner together, had some beers, and hopefully if we can jump in here, if that's okay with the rest of y'all, because I might not have that many minutes left on my phone battery.
Okay, let's get into it. Liam had the chance to go first, and he pissed that up the wall, so to speak. So snooze you lose, old man.
Well, first of all, thanks, Sammy, again, for all these talkbacks. These are so great to be able to hear from all the creators, and you always do such a good job hosting.
Thank you. I must say that my intentions are purely selfish. I literally want to know. So I'm glad that I get to share it with the community, and I'm glad that I get to talk to all you guys and get to know you a bit better, get to know your motivations for building the way that you build, for making the choices that you make, and it's truly fascinating. So thank you so much as well. Really, really, really appreciate it. Is this the one that we're talking? Yeah, it is, isn't it? This is you guys.
Yep, this is Meccha.
So yeah, I've already done all my spiel. Guys, tell us about it. I want to know. How did it begin? How did it formulate?
All right. So the idea was one when I first started H2HX, I dropped in like 6 or 7 different mood boards and ideas. This was one I was most excited about, and it was under the working title Atomic Cowboy. It's the idea came to me very randomly. I was in Denver with my partner. We went to this restaurant, and it was called Atomic Cowboy, and it had these industrial kind of rust color metal theme and a lot of hokey pokey signage, googie signage, and random letters, and it felt kind of like a junkyard, and that brought me. It somehow inspired me, and I started putting this idea together, and I proposed it during H2HX. At first, even though it was proposed, I wasn't going to be on the park. I think it was Janae, Bucks, and who else?
94 Supreme Posse. Or Noah. Yeah.
Because I was on Verb at the beginning, but I really enjoyed the theme, and I was being selfish, and I requested, can we please move this back from round 2 so I can be on it? We ended up moving it and switching it out with Costello, like Bucks had put into the thread. And at that point, though, the idea was still just the junkyard, apocalyptic future in the desert where the society is built around all the junk that got left there. And they built this, they're living amongst the junk. Mm-hmm. There was no mechs involved yet. There was just some very vague ideas of that.
And some inspiration pictures.
So how did the mechs come into play?
I think someone posted a video on I say famous YouTuber that does like a lot of small crafts, and he did like an atomic watchtower, like atomic tower.
Yes, it was the watchtower.
I think I watch a lot of these people.
Yes,
there's like north of the border. There's that one who does all like the Studio Ghibli ones, and there's that one who does like the weird mechs.
Exactly. Yeah,
I know exactly the one you're talking about. How crazy is that?
Yeah. And I wanted to get started on something because AVC and the others were very busy, and I had no idea where to start. So when someone posted this photo or like this video of the mech being built, I just wanted to try it out. And that's essentially what I did. I wanted to get used to the palette and not the palette, the bench. Mm-hmm. And so I built the first mech is the one that's trying to crawl over the coasters.
On the diagonal bridge.
Yeah.
Just south, right there.
Yeah.
That was the start of the whole map, thanks to the Bucks.
That was the beginning of the mechs. Because essentially for the next month or so, I guess you were building on Verb.
Leon was on Scream Easy.
And I had no idea how to lead a park, let alone do a macro or anything. So I just started doing mechs.
Mech after mech after mech.
Yes.
And each one was incredible. Bucks was churning them out. It was insane. And
it sort of became a bit of we had different macros. Like you macroed out the first, I think, macro we had.
Leon did the first layout for the macro.
Yeah.
And then midway through we changed it up because we started focusing on mechs instead of just this junkyard society. Then we changed it up a third time. This map was insanely difficult to put together. Every time we looked at it, our eyes crossed and we couldn't figure out where the ground started and where we need to build.
Yeah.
It was a very difficult process.
It's a lot of screaming in the voice chat. Yeah. I can't see shit. Like that. But so we came to a turning point at some point where we just decided to let it be about the mechs. Mm-hmm. I think from quite early on, we knew we wanted some more concept than just like junkyard theme. Mm-hmm. Like we wanted some sort of like festival or sort of gatherings for these type of people that would live in this kind of society. So essentially a festival where you'd have people camp outside arriving on mechs and I think that's also sort of how the mechs got involved a little bit when we started talking about that. And in the first macro, we only had like a tiny little arena.
It was stuffed into a corner, hidden underground.
Yeah.
And after the third macro switch up, it became a centerpiece where we did this very large circular arena. And Leon was took charge of that with the first stadium seating. He did one off map and pasted it on, and that kind of drove the aesthetic. And then he did the diagonal one right there as well as the orthogonal one, and that set the tone for what the arena will look like. And then I infilled a lot of these. This part was Saxman actually, with a lot of this rock work and these two VIP viewing sections that he did. And I infilled some of the others in the other view.
And I think at this point we wanted 2 mech centerpieces in the arena.
Oh,
and
yeah.
We only had one, like we had the spider thing first that I built like months ago, I think.
Where did that spider one come from? That was so good.
Some reference photo I found from somewhere. I can't remember.
You have this talent for taking images and bringing them to life in the game.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's uncanny how close this looks like to the reference image.
But I also
You're gonna get a copyright strike?
Sorry?
You're gonna get a copyright strike?
Yeah. No.
Possible if they find out about this.
Well, the scaling is completely off. So it's fine. But yeah. Yeah. And then we were missing this, like I think I suggested at some point a centipede, but I couldn't find any reference photos. At this point, my boyfriend had paid ChatGPT, which has like a built-in image generator or like AI for generating images. And I just typed in something like cowboy riding on a centipede or something like that. And so I had a reference photo for the pincher mech that came out there in the end.
Wait, this was from AI?
This was from AI, yeah.
That's incredible. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it is.
Did you post the AI image?
I did, yeah.
Oh.
We also had like 1 million reference photos.
Yeah.
To be fair. So I had 1 million photos to go from when I built the mechs as well. And I wanted to try and, like, after those, try and do some smaller ones, which was much more of a challenge, in my opinion, because, like, building small in RCT is always a challenge, right?
Well, so if you look around the map, there are a bunch of these smaller scenes by the desert area where there's sand, towards the 3 towers at the entrance. Yeah, all the way to the left.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
So around this area, there are these little scenes that were just built off map by monsterbux. And like the little tents and the little, there's a lot of piping. If you turn one, rotate once.
Wall-E-esque.
Yeah. The Wall-E-esque one right there by the Ferris wheel. We had this entire array of these little junkyard scenes and little small mechs, which made it really great to fill in the empty spaces when we were getting towards the end of the build. We had a lot of empty spaces, but we were not worried at all because monsterbux had made an entire assortment.
We had a map next to it.
Yeah.
A menagerie of sorts.
Yes.
Of mech creatures.
And they were all so immaculate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Amazing.
So that's one example. Oh yeah, towards the end it was easy.
Well, it was definitely not easy
not
at any point before that.
Yeah, it was a very difficult build up until about a week before the deadline. Then it's
3 weeks before, actually.
Really?
Like we had
sounds like a skill issue. Our build process was well easy.
It was like the infamous mental breakdown.
Yes.
Approximately a couple of weeks before deadline.
We had
so you went to the Indian takeaway, so to speak. It was the Indian buffet, sorry.
It was the Indian buffet moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember panicking a little because nothing felt readable.
It was a mess, to be honest. Yeah.
It felt like I don't think it was as bad as we made it to, but it was really hard knowing what to build because you couldn't see shit, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, the ground texture was dark brown.
Yeah.
And I think I was ready to delete half the map at some point, like to start over, to start from scratch. And fortunately, Leon and AVC came in and both just said, like, let's just make the ground like a light color. That'll make it more readable. And that's what we did. And after that day, we actually just built.
It was in thin contrast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's part of something that I've every time I build an H2H, it's always a learning experience. No matter how much better I get from the last park I built, I always learn something new. And I feel like this time around with this park specifically, it was such a struggle up until that 3-week point.
So you could say that building with me on the park we built in Headset Classic facilitated this park. So it's kind of, you're welcome, is what I'm trying to say.
Thank you, Sammy. Yeah, but I feel like the main lesson I took away from this build was contrast is so important, especially when you're building a theme that is so messy, right? Because we got away with a lot of messy micro because it's part of the theme. Yeah. And you would not be able to do that if you were doing like a European city or something very refined in this junky vibe.
Can't escape the flames. Poor Liam.
No. We had a lot of leeway. We could make mistakes and do something messy, and it would be like, okay, this be okay because it's part of the aesthetic.
Yeah.
But what the problem was is it became illegible. There's too much all happening all at once. And when we changed that dark path color to the light sand, instant contrast, it immediately resolved a lot of the issues.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I can imagine that, actually.
Yeah, imagine all the light sand you see, and imagine that was dark brown sand.
You'll have to post a screenshot of what it was before, because that would be fascinating to see the difference.
Yeah, I'm sure we could dig one up and post it.
Yeah. Post it tonight when we get home.
And that was a huge lesson for, I think, us when we realized it instantly clarified to create the foreground versus background.
Yeah, you need that contrast,
I do think this entire build was a huge lesson for me, at least. Like, not just that, but like everything, how to work the bench and like how to do a macro, how to do a building that looks like trash but not actually trash. You know, it's really, really struggling.
I do want to call out a building that monsterbux did, which is right by, if you scroll up slightly to the main and turn around, right? So that LED screen, Arachnid versus Binchar, was monsterbux's sign. Yeah. So good. And then the building right down to the bottom left, that's hidden right there. That was all you, right?
No, it was actually Saxman.
Saxman did that.
Saxman did the general structure of it.
Yeah,
and
Saxman did the full structure.
Filled in with like detailing.
Ah, so there we have a Saxman monsterbux special.
Yeah, and I filled in the interior well with the mechs that are inside the mech preparation area, right outside the arena.
I love to hear that.
Yeah, that backside exactly.
Yeah, this entire backside was Saxman for sure, with all of the larger overstructures, and all the scenes were monsterbux. Yeah.
And I think I did some refinement on the sides, on the roof, on the like that whole structure you see there is also something we added after the sign was added. But yeah, Saxman sort of laid the groundwork so we could make the building essentially.
Incidentally, Steve isn't allowed on catwalks like this because his walking stick just goes straight through the grating. But yeah, what an incredible... What about the coasters? We haven't mentioned the coasters at all. What's the story there?
Sorry, we didn't catch that?
I was just asking about the coasters.
Ah, yes. Well, the original map had a cannonball layout by Leon. And we posted an image of that in the Discord, but not in the official any thread. But
I think I missed
of course, once we changed the macro, we always wanted a dueling coaster because it makes sense for the mech battle and kind of the dueling aspect. Leon did 90% of this layout. And he just, of course, one of the best builders of our time, if not the greatest. But he just had this uncanny ability with layouts to do something super flowy and beautiful to look at. I made some adjustments towards the end of the layout, but it was 90% Leon. And when he placed it into the map, we ended up copying and pasting a lot of the buildings in around the layout after it was put in place. Yeah.
There's a lot of copy and pasting involved in this map in general.
So was there a lot of stuff in before the coasters went in?
Yeah, we had a good...
Interesting.
Like that entire Octopussy building in the middle with the metro, that was in place before we even had this coaster. So we always had this vertical launch coaster going through that. And we had part of the arena, I believe, but not the full giant arena.
No.
Then we switched up the macro. We deleted the cannonball coaster completely. Leon did this layout, and then we repasted things back in place. It was a full kind of restart of the map.
I think Leon's towers towards the entrance is also something that went in quite early.
Yes. These three towers here.
But they were refined over like 6 or 7 different rebuilds of them, I think.
Yeah.
Like, to make them readable, essentially.
Well, it worked. Yep. It was worth it.
Yeah.
It was a tough journey, but we're very happy with how it turned out. Part of when you're building very tall like this, the hardest part is making sure you have the right sight lines in each view. Because when you rotate, it may look good in one view, it may cover something and align in the wrong way in another. So there was a lot of
huge struggle.
Huge struggle to make sure that in every view, if it's covering something, it's something that's still visible in another view. Or if in this view it looks good and the other view looks bad, let's move it over 2 tiles. Kind of just making sure everything is well considered, given the constraints of the game. It's an isometric game, right? And you really have to make sure that, especially when aesthetics are so important, and it's all about creating something easy on the eyes and beautiful to look at, every view is considered.
Too right. There's a question here for monsterbux from a fan in the stream right now. Someone called JK asks. Stop scrolling. What does your future look like with CSO? Are you converted or excited to build simpler styles?
That's a great question. I feel like it's not the last time I've done CSO, at least. But my struggle is usually because I'm best at this micro stuff, right? So, and that takes like those mechs took forever to do. So doing an entire part in CSO by myself with that would probably be too much. But I think I would be able to like compete where I can be like more in a supporting role or micro madness or something like that. So I'll keep playing around with it for sure, I think.
Well, thank God for that. And for sure, there's always I always recommend that people collaborate anyway, because it's a great way to learn. And if you just have like a weakness or something that you don't like doing as much, which I for one have loads of stuff I don't like doing and I depend on others for. That's why I come into head-to-head saying, listen, I am a supporting builder. Point me in a direction. I'm going to help out. I'm going to do what I can, and that, is how the sausage is made. In terms of most of these projects, it's always someone saying, "I have a strength, I will perform my strength." So I'm excited to see more collaboration from monsterbux. It would be an honor, I'm sure, for everybody in the chat watching right now. I bet they're all clamoring to have you contribute something to something they're building.
You're so kind.
Well, you've just spent the best part of half an hour talking about how you completed this amazing park. So pretty hard for us not to want to build with you after that.
I want to build with people, a lot of people from NE as well, for sure. I'm looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to seeing it all as well. I'm sure you're not going to have any shortage of people willing to answer your call, should you have any call.
Hopefully.
AVC, I never want to build with you again. No, it's an absolute dream building with you when I built with you. I look forward to building with you again, AVC. Fingers crossed.
I'm a competition builder for a reason, because I can't finish a solo for my life. I love building with other players. And
I'm sensing a similar theme here with you two.
Yeah.
Join forces again, right?
If their chance comes up, absolutely.
100%.
But I love the whole point of RCT for me. It's because of NE, is the community. Yeah. And I love competitions because it's the camaraderie around it, the working together. And I often feel stuck building by myself when I'm soloing something. And that's where H2H, when you're building with others and you get instant feedback, other options, or what about this? Or have you thought about this? That is the best way for me to build. And I can't imagine building any other way. So every time I build in a competition with other talented players, it's the only thing that really, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it has a room for all talent. Because you don't need to be able to build an entire park yourself.
Oh, exactly. You work to your strength, just like you said, Sammy. Yeah.
I am very wise.
That you are.
And all my wisdom is just stolen from everyone else. This is my talent, is theft.
Aren't all of us? We are inspired by each other.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Is there, I know you've spoken about so much detail in this park, is there any detail that you guys think has gone maybe a bit unappreciated, or maybe something that people have missed?
Oh, the broken mech in the mech bay.
Ah, yes.
This one.
So good.
Yeah. It speaks for itself, I want to say.
The idea was that, of course, you have these mech battles in the arena, but as they get destroyed, they're pulled off into this trash grinder and ends up getting tossed into the pit. And this was a great broken mech by Buck.
Yeah.
One thing that we did discuss in the Discord is that this trash corner has a lot of Easter eggs in here. And we did a little bit of each team's part. Yeah, if you turn one more view, this view of this entire trash corner, there's a little Easter egg from each team hidden within this trash pile.
Okay.
I don't know. So we did we had a little bit of reveal in the Discord, but it was never officialized in the NE chat. But down on the bottom right, you can see one of the floats from Neo Hot Springs with the Asian roof pagoda.
Oh!
We literally took a screenshot of it and rebuilt one of them into this trash pile. The far right there, you have a lollipop from Raveland, from Evergreen Gardeners.
Oh, damn.
We had the Ghirardelli sign just hidden right above that from Hurricanes.
There it is.
And then, of course, Wawa was the most obvious. We had the corkscrew there. That was clickable.
Smoke Bubble Ski.
Smoke Bubble Ski. And then to the left, by the Enterprise, we had the Biota Swan from our team, right there.
Yeah.
And then to the left, all the way to the left, I believe this one was not clickable. It was a little harder to clock. It's the boat from Murder in McAllen. Yeah, I think Leon recreated one of the boats and added it there. Or what was it? It's an actual scenery item.
It's the Liampie, it's the Dreamport boat.
No, there it is. Yeah,
pre-memed and memed to perfection here.
Yeah, was that it? Or was that? I think. Oh, there was also a Kumba 2 sign hidden somewhere in here.
Son of Kumba.
Son of Kumba.
I was hunting for it a minute ago. I've forgotten where it was though.
You can only see the bar from this angle, I think.
Yes, so it's hidden. It's hidden under the main trash area.
Yeah, it's still in the main trash area. Yeah,
everything's
to
in
the
the
left. A little to the left.
Oh no, to the right.
No, I think it's right up here somewhere.
No, it's to the right. If you move to the right, and then move down slightly, it's in this screen.
Oh, that.
Right above the fire pit. There's the Kumba sign.
There we go. It's so hard to see.
Yeah.
I'm trying to because it's
there. It is.
It's there. I was trying to get rid of this part here, but it's on the same level probably.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We thought that was a little fun Easter egg to toss a little bit of each team into the trash pit.
Yeah.
I love it. I love stuff like that. I love the thoughtfulness that goes into it. Yeah, it's in a trash pit, but hate is not the opposite of love, we've found. It is, they are still strong emotions. So you may be trashing us, but you're actually obsessed with us.
Well, we also trash a little biota in there too, so the hate is mutual across all teams, including our own.
Yeah.
Exactly. We hate everyone equally here. We're equal opportunity haters. I love biota. I'm not afraid to say it.
It was a great park. I loved it too.
It's definitely one that I've thought about a lot since, just being wow, it was just so itself and so unashamed. And we love that.
I'm glad to hear it.
We love the high intensity. We love the low intensity. We love everything here. Amazing. Well, thank you guys so much for coming and talking about this. I really, really appreciate it. It was fascinating to see the process behind this, as I'm sure everyone else is feeling the exact same way. I'm glad that it was so difficult for you guys, because it would have been really depressing to hear you guys go, yeah, we pretty much just bashed it out and it's so easy for us. So I'm glad that such an achievement did cost you in some way.
Yeah, thanks for having us. This is great to be able to talk about this and for being able to speak together with Bucks too. I did say that this was a harder build than Stardust Jubilee was.
Oh, damn.
As difficult as that one was, this one was, I was crossing my eyes and giving up midway through at some points. Yeah.
We all were. And that's how we ended up with all those mechs.
Yes.
That's how you ended up with a 90+ park, you mean?
Which we're very happy about. Very, very happy about. So thank you to the community. I'm glad you guys enjoyed.
I'm just making sure it's still recording. It's still recording, thank God. So paranoid now. Yes, go ahead. Tell us the completely normal tale of Donkey Kong.
Yeah, so it all begins in a nice seaside town in Puerto Rico, which is where I was staying on a vacation. Very gratefully, it was cool. But, I wake up to a message. We had been working on a Quebec City park, which would eventually become Chateau Frontenac. And it was myself, Ayrton, Parker, and Dino. But we ultimately decided that was not the direction we wanted to go. So in mid-May, we pivoted to a Donkey Kong concept. And although there were some builder changes even then, sort of the core builders on Donkey Kong were Dino, myself, Mamarias, Parker, and sometimes Hex. And during that time, it was our round 5 park. So, the round robin that was slated to go against the Jazz Cats would have been Donkey Kong. And, I think some people in this chat, I've shared a few screens of some of the stuff I did in some places. It might be worth making a forum post at some point. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if Dino here? I don't think he is. But Dino did a lot of work. It had a similar sort of macro idea. There was going to be a big volcano. There's going to be a big, go-kart track, as you saw in the later one. But we ran into some issues with getting our semis concept completed. And so we decided to pivot Donkey Kong to semifinals. And, long story short, there were several builder changes, a little bit of drama here and there, actually a bit of drama. But you ultimately saw the park that is before you today. And, the version that was released was built very quickly. It was built, within 10 days mostly.
And that was mostly because of like the actual like raw maths of like moving the builders around left a logistical challenge that necessitated destroying a lot of the map so that people could we could follow the rules basically.
Well, yeah, that was definitely part of it. But as we'll get into with Dinos, I think we can all say collectively we're very happy with how our season ended, how we all ended together on a good note. But, in terms of the Donkey Kong itself, yeah, there were a lot of changes made. I'd be, like I said, at some point I want to share what Dino, Mama, Parker, and I had been working on, perhaps even as an alternate version to the park, because frankly, what we had for round 5 was almost, 80% done or more. And because Chateau was built mostly in 1 week, right? So we thought that Donkey Kong was going to be our round 5 for quite a while. So it was really far along. So, we maybe even if it's not for an accolade, maybe just to get it on the database at some point, we might do that. But in terms of the actual map that's before you, I think one thing from the original version that was kept that I really love is the volcano. That might be the highlight of the map for me. That was done by Mamarias, with the goofy kind of cartoon eyes and the overall shape of it and the face. It just frankly screams Donkey Kong and like Nintendo. And so I think he really knocked it out of the park on that.
Me too. This whole park is like a testament to the tenacity of man, if it were, because this whole like finished product, it was dragged kicking and screaming from oblivion by the sheer talent of all the builders involved. Lesser men would have crumbled under the challenge, but these guys absolutely crushed it, and they made a map that is truly something to be so proud of, in and out of context.
Definitely.
But JK, I summoned thee to come and talk more about the actual the build process, the actual task of finishing this. How is that for you?
Yeah. Still a bit raw, Sam. It was tough. It was really tough. We had to switch some partnerships around just for a number of different reasons. So by the time we actually got to, I'm just going to post the screen now. By the time we actually got to the end for builders that were going to build on the park, we were actually quite light in terms of the map and things that we had to remove because other builders had touched it, etc. So we had essentially a new map to build off. The really great thing was Mama was building on the map again, so we could use Mama's volcano straight away to add a little bit more to the map. We really wanted to see the volcano on the map again, and we also thought it had a better impact than the temple that Nin and I was starting to build. So the idea was to shift the volcano back to the centerpiece because it was very Nintendo. We wanted the face to move. We wanted it to have a lot more facial expressions as well. So when you clicked certain things across the map on like a plugin, the face might react a different way. And we were also toying with the idea about collecting the letters of Kong to action like different events across the map. So there were loads and loads of ideas that we had. Obviously, with Nin being on the map, we were not short of ideas coming out, but obviously time just ran away with us a little bit more. So some of the amazing things from other builders that had been on the map, I rebuilt from scratch. Some of the like rounded architecture was really great, and then we put riffs on a few other things, and it was just a kind of human effort to just get this done and get it competing against a very tough competitor. we knew we were going into pretty much a bloodbath potentially, but we just tried to do enough to put out a good park and represent the team really well. And we didn't want to let the competition down, basically. So yeah, it was a really tough build. Out of all the 7 parks we've put out there, this was the one that was cursed for us, unfortunately. And yeah, it was the playoffs park. But at the same time, huge shout out to Nin. Nin is an absolute beast. Some things that he did on this map in the last 7 days were just heroic. He was inspiring. I honestly think he's one of the best players of the game. So that was really fun to build with Nin. Fun fact is my only losses in head-to-head have been with Nin. So
to me, one of them.
Yeah, to you as well. We just shouldn't build together, even though I love building with Nin.
You always make something amazing with Nin, so definitely don't stop building with Nin.
Yeah, building with Nin's a journey and a really great experience. But one of my personal highlights of the park is the coaster, because I think I'll let Hex talk about it in a second, but essentially Hex did the coaster supports, and me and Nin did the factory architecture, and I did the landscaping to the bottom of it as well, and the beach scene.
Is Hex around? Have we heard of Hex?
I'm sure Hex is here.
Yay! God, I'm glad you are.
Yeah, apologies. I'm running on like 3 hours of sleep, and I think I've spent 12 of the last like 30 hours in a car. I'm feeling it. So I'm gonna go to bed like right after we talk about our parks, probably. Yeah, I'm still kind of bitter about this park, if I can be honest. Not as much after doing the Land Before Time, but I am not a Donkey Kong guy. I don't know if I was the only one out of the 4 that wasn't a Donkey Kong guy. It's like I don't really remember how familiar JK is with it, but I know Mama Maria's and Nin like really seem to enjoy that IP. It's like I don't really have much experience with it, so I'm sure many people in here and that are watching this have had to build on something that they're not really fond of doing, and it's like that's just part of head-to-head. But like I told JK, I'm like, yeah, I'm a man of my word. Like I'll get it done. I just I won't be happy about it. But like looking back on it now, it's like I'm still proud of the work. Does it stick out? Yeah. I think Nin was basically showing how the Crocs have this giant factory that's like a deforestation machine that looks kind of alive, and he's like, if you can do that with a coaster, that'd be fine. And the Lonely Hearts know me as like the guy that scrutinizes the real types of coasters, and I had been kind of working on some Alton Towers inspired park. So I had like a Nemesis style layout for an invert, and I had mocked up a Smiler reinterpretation. And when we were talking about like, oh, this factory is alive and stuff, I showed them that, and it's like, yeah, we want something like that. So I'm like, okay. The only thing I knew was that they wanted a coaster with a lot of inversions, 2 lift hills, and it had to have like a giant helix for that robot sculpture to go in. Now, that robot sculpture wasn't even there. I think just the treads were when I did the layout. So I'm like, hopefully I left enough room for, and I knew it was going to be Mama Maria's, who else to do a giant sculpture kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, like, I also had a couple of different color schemes, and I took, maybe 4 screenshots of 4 different color schemes and had the rest of the team, like even the builders that weren't building, was like, please vote on this and like let me know. And the monochrome deep red won, and I'm like, all right, that sounds fine with me. Building with those supports was a time. And sometimes I loved it, and some days I was like, this is agonizing. Like, because you don't have any sloped, angled ones. It's all like straight vertical and then complete horizontal. So you don't really have
you've got to get creative.
A lot of freedom. Right. So basically trying to get those footers down first, testing out how high they could go, I would place like floating floater blocks. Floating footer blocks, kind of just so I could see it better. And like, sometimes I'd have the supports be like a bright yellow color or something just so I could see what the heck was going on. And to have minimal clipping as humanly possible. So I don't think any of the supports clip. And if they do, it's to make it look like it's actually attached to the track. But it's not that the coaster itself is running into them. It's just like a sacrifice that I thought, I thought the trade-off of them being there would look better than them kind of being like a bit floaty.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think Nin banged out the taller part of the factory, and because I saw him do most of that in a session. I think I had finished like a section of the supports, and he's like, all right, I'm ready. And like I traded, like he was at the gym or something. So I'm like, okay, it's time for me to build supports. We didn't have multiplayer for this park, so it was all, one player at a time. And when you have a time constraint of like 8 days, you just gotta have someone building on it at all times if you can. So time zones were great. Nin and I are in the same time zone, but JK is in the UK, and then Mama Maria's is on like the west coast of the States. So it worked out that someone was pretty much always on the park, like doing something. And yeah, I echo JK's love for Nin to like do as much as he did that quickly with that vision, with that little amount of time. It was very impressive to watch. I've known Nin for a bit. I've known Mama Maria's for a bit. I've only really known JK since his return. He's like a name that I've seen, on the forums, because I've been on New Element for a while, but not as active. Pretty much like right before COVID hit is when I started to really get involved with the community. So it's like I've pretty much wanted to build with everybody here for a while, and it just sucks that it wasn't on something that my heart was in. But hopefully the work still looks pretty good, So.
Well, yes, it does. I feel like it was a highlight for a lot of people. Just in terms of your, because I want you to get to bed and whatnot. Should we move over to the third place matchup?
Yeah, that's all good.
I feel like we've got loads more to talk about there as well. So much love to Nin and Mama Maria's and you guys for just absolutely blitzing that park and making it as proud as you can be of it. Just really amazing to watch.
I don't think that's the last we're going to see of Donkey Kong, to be fair, because I know Dino and Rob did a hell of a lot of work that they're really proud of. So hopefully we see like a variation of that in the future. And that'll be really, really cool. So watch this space for DK anyway.
And yes, I will be. because there's some awesome stuff that sadly just had to get axed, because of the rules of the contest. We tend to follow them when we can. And when we can't, we just break them.
we never broke them, just for the record.
Yes, we did.
I'll never tell.
We broke the no. There was a rule inside the Lonely Hearts Club where you weren't allowed to have sex for the whole contest, and we know that Dino broke that. The top shagger. Amazing. Land Before Time. The land before the land before the land before the land before time. And this is something that we can all talk about.
So good.
Yeah, tell me a bit, because I wasn't in the... I wasn't as active in the conceptualization of this park, so... If we've got, I don't know whether we've got like a Jens around, and who were the driving forces behind getting this going?
Definitely Jens and Mamarius. Like without a shadow of a doubt. But Jens can't talk. But yeah, he started the micro. And Dinos was actually being, players were like chipping away at it. So Nin and I did a few sketches, thought it would be really cool. We had like different options for how the footprint could look, so we were almost thinking about putting the footprint like into the ground. So we were either going to raise it like a miso basically, or we were going to like push it down into the ground. So we had a bit of a team vote on that one. And then Mamarius got the footprint shape done. Jens then just went to town and started landscaping some of the most iconic scenes that we've done already. Mamarius and Jens are the players you go to for macro planning, that it just comes so natural to them. They turn around so fast, and they're very quick at getting like a vision out there, or a vision that matches like a Nin sketch. So they're really, really handy at that kind of stuff. And then throughout the competition, they were kind of just chipping away at like small sections of landscape. But then Jens went on holiday for 2 weeks. So it came kind of abruptly to a halt, and Mamarius was then on Donkey Kong with us on the last. So
it was just me
days.
Building on it for about a week.
Yeah. So you had a week off, and then you started picking stuff up. I don't know if you want to say anything more on that.
Who, me?
I think in that time I did some of the architecture tests as well.
Yeah, because we were. It was a bit up in the air what sort of. God, shut up. What direction we're going to go in? Was it going to be more? What? Because something that probably everyone's noticed is like there's very sort of like minimal like traditional architecture in here. It's not very architecture heavy. So it was like, at what level can these people build? I think was the question on everyone's mind. And it was a bit of like a negotiation saying, is it this level? Is it that level? Is it going to be more Flintstones? Is it going to be more literally they're living in caves, that sort of thing? And we settled on like a thing. They can tie bits of rope and wood together, and they can like carve stuff out of stone, and that's about as much as they can do.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I think in that time I did the layout for the rapids, and got sort of like the basic concepts down, like it's going to get forced up by the geyser. And I was just hacking away at the coasters. I did a bunch of drafts, and then luckily Hex was around to sort of slam dunk on my assist. Whilst I was asleep one day, I was like, there's a draft, what do we think? And everyone was like, yeah, it's good, we like it. And then Hex came in and just sort of like got it across the finish line. So that was amazing. It's mostly a Hex. When I say got it across the finish line, I mean getting it finished rather than like he finished my layout. He did one of his own that was like took all the concepts and brought them to life much more than I was. So huge shout out to Hex. Hopefully he's not passed away.
No,
we can
I'm
talk about
here.
his process.
I didn't want to interrupt. Yeah, like the station placement and how it kind of like, kind of S-bends in and out at the end and beginning. Like, I know that was something that Sammy had, and like the lift hill and that first kind of drop up into that swoopy turn up thing, like that was all Sammy. And like the overall blueprint, like the giant T shape, like that was all Sammy too. But I don't know. I was not satisfied with the Donkey Kong stuff, so I'm like I'm gonna just try my take at the layout, and then it seemed like a lot of people enjoyed it. So again, I like taking inspiration off of like real manufacturers. So this is very CCI heavy. It's like kind of Ghost Rider-y. It has that brake run with like the 180 turn kind of thing, and the splash, quad splash, I was just like, I think it looks kind of neat and it very old school from like some of the LL parks I've seen, where you have drops that are just all adjacent like that. I thought I remember seeing some old LL like Woodies like that. But the track was 5 feet above the water, and I don't remember who said it, but they're like, should we raise the water and just have it be like splashing into the water? And then we did that, and it looked pretty cool. And we talked about getting a plug-in from Dino to like either have a splash or like, because that would have been way quicker than hacking rides to splash at the right time. Like I want to say Kongoy did that on Nam Chulang, the NCSO park, however that said. Because like he hacked.
No, try it. You got to say it now. You got to attempt
Nam Chulang. I don't even know what it is. I just know it's NCS. It literally is NCSO.
Nam Chulang Su.
Yeah, that one. Gesundheit. But like he had, I'm pretty sure it was Kongoy that had hacked a diagonal water splash ride. So it's like clearly this can be done. But it was just at that point it was just a time thing. So it's like, no, we'll just put a bunch of Argonath firework objects and paint them watercolor, and you get the point across.
There's no way they're fireworks. They just look nothing like fireworks. They're definitely water splashes.
But isn't that what the objects is called?
Yeah,
I don't
probably,
know.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. It's weird because I love doing coasters and layouts and stuff, but I did not see all those like walkways going over and like all these stone pillars being connected by the walkways with all the shrubbery under them, and like on the portion of the coaster that's kind of away from the rest, like all the rocks and tunnels that JK manifested over there is like really cool. So when that started to get pieced together, I'm like, wow, like that just made it look even better. And the reason that we used the mine train supports was just time. I'm like, there's no way that I'm fucking doing another Sambava's Rest. Like, I'm not doing that with this amount of time. And we're like, well, the coaster kind of had an LL feel, and it's like, I feel like it's an old school thing to use the mine train supports. It looks like it's going to fall apart, like if a coaster was made in the Stone Age. So it just kind of fit. Yeah, and I think it came together pretty well. Sammy was being modest, though. It's like it wouldn't look like this without his initial multiple renditions.
Oh, we all know that.
So props to you. Like, I didn't expect us to work together because we're both layout people. So it's like the fact that I actually got to collaborate on a very large coaster was a great way to cap off the season.
And a lot of people are saying, Hex. A lot of people are saying that it's the Woody of the contest.
Oh, hell yeah.
Word on the street. I hear Posix scribbling away in his huge tome that he writes down all the nominations in. With his quill and ink.
Yeah. So the reason that the coaster is red was like Sammy was talking about the redwoods and like sequoia type trees and stuff, and initially we were gonna have some like redwoods, but from like the prime macro that everyone opens the park, it's like JK was adamant, it needs to look like a paw print. Like nothing can go above or outside the lines that are drawn from the prime angle. The other 3 angles, it doesn't matter. But we just couldn't really make these we had some giant trees for like the redwood sequoia type
I'm
feel.
definitely gonna do something with those giant trees.
I loved it.
Yeah, Sammy,
you
I
should
love
at
that
some
so
point-
much. I feel like you and I should like do a design with like a redwood theme. I don't want that to go to waste or something. You know,
Rob, I didn't tell you this the other day, but I downloaded one of the pictures that you posted of that forest, and I used it to show my D&D players. it wasn't a redwood forest.
Oh, nice. Wait,
it was that. I don't
what
know
was the forest I posted?
It was the one where you're in the Firewatch Tower or something.
Oh, the one that I went to in real life.
Yeah, the real life one.
Nice.
But that's by
cool.
the by. That's a tangent, but I just remembered
Yeah,
it just then.
no, that's
I was
cool.
like, I showed my D&D
That's
guys.
cool.
Yeah, we should definitely do something with those redwoods though, because I loved. I just love those enormous trees. Yep, I'm on board for that. You heard it here You heard it here first, folks. Look out for that.
Yeah, Sammy had even you should post those screens. He had even made the lift hill be supported by one that had splintered and broken and fallen over, so it was leaning up against the rock work and stuff, and the shrubs and edges off of the actual trunk were sticking out and had all the greenery still on them. It was really cool.
Yeah, it's a bit murky in terms of the readability. If we'd had more time, I think everything to do with this is if we had a bit more time, it would have been amazing.
And
I really like what we did instead. This was Aki doing all this stuff, being a top legend. This element,
we pulled off some late night build sessions, really late.
Yeah,
so we were grateful for that.
Yeah, really, really glad that Aki got to build again. We let her. No, every millisecond of Aki's time I'm very grateful for. And just incidentally about the music, just with deadlines, this happens, but it was meant to start on a more quiet vibe, and then it was supposed to be surprising that the second section happens. And the initial plan for me was to have Aki playing guitar on that as well. But that didn't end up happening, which is very sad, but hopefully we'll be able to do something in future. And I'm so very glad that we had Aki as part of our team. And let Aki shout out there. I don't know if Aki's around. Hold on, she is, isn't she? Hey!
I'm here.
How are you doing?
Sorry, I didn't get to record. I had to finish my my single.
And an amazing single it is. Plug it real quick.
Listen to I Am Driving a Car. Oh, fuck. The song's title's so long.
Yeah, I think
I'm driving a car with a cute girl and pretending that the world isn't ending by my new band, Ameo Kama. My solo project. I edited the music video. I mixed it. I did all the graphics. Yeah, it was basically in Head Park.
Park.
Unfortunately, did not record anything.
You guys need to check it out.
But yeah,
I'll put the link.
Hopefully, in the future we'll make that happen, because I was excited for that. But yeah, it starts in the middle of the end section when you open the park, so it's a bit intense to be opening on. But it's meant to be the more rhythmic, doom do 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 do, sort of
I
stuff
think
to
we
be.
We should make a Bandcamp page for all the original music from this competition.
Oh, Def, I was thinking of getting that sort of thing sorted, but I'll definitely be on the team channel talking about what we should do with all of that.
So when you do that, I'll add the guitar part.
Oh, sick! Now we're talking. Whew! What a park. Damn, what haven't we spoken about here? FK built a little bit, and that was amazing.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I just want to shout out to the rest of the builders on this park as well. So, Rob pretty much built like some of my favorite stuff on the map. Rob did.
I'm here if you want me to talk about it.
Yeah, go
No,
for it.
we
Sorry,
don't.
Rob.
We'll talk for you.
Well, no, I don't. So one of my main contributions were the flat rides. In head-to-head 9, a big part of my role on the tile inspectors was ride hacking. That's something I didn't do a ton of this season, which maybe I should have. But I tried to make up for it a little bit here. I sort of themed the Condor ride as well. So like the little tower, like its structure and the little mural. With the teacups ride, I did most of like the ground, little like that circle spiral pattern. Mama Maria's helped me with that too, though. What else? Oh, the fireball ride. That was a little bit of a tricky hack. Fortunately, we couldn't make it keepable in time, but you know, it's okay. The movement is the important part. And one thing that I did that I think I'm probably the most proud of is the sort of winch structure on the dive coaster. JK had mentioned that he wanted some kind of, rope pulling it up. So it's like the idea is the cavemen, they don't have chainless, but they have the brave. I don't know. It's not the most well thought out, but it's there, and it seems like people cool, like it. Doesn't it? Yeah. It adds movement. JK did most of the lift hill. I kind of did like the lower section. He did the upper section mostly. What else did I do? So if you go around the map, there a lot of the architecture is like these little circular towers. Basically what I did at one point was off map, I was doing some architectural tests, and I drew inspiration sort of from like Pueblo architecture. And so a lot of those components that you see, I built, and you can see that a lot of them are the same. But what ended up happening was JK like took the individual components and he did the placement of them. So like he put them where they fit best and sort of interacted with each other and added different details to each one. So I'm happy the way that worked out. It was a bit of a teamwork there. And then in addition, I did those murals. Try to go for a cave painting sort of vibe. Interestingly, the little hunter guy and the buffalo was added like literally in the final minute. Not even joking.
And that's why the music's
not final hour, not final 10 minutes, final minute. So forgive me if it looks a bit rushed.
That looks awesome. I was surprised to see it. I wondered when it went in.
Yeah. And the geyser trick was also me. I wish I would have been able to figure out how to sync it, but as with most things in this map, didn't have time.
No.
I also contributed to the rock work. That was the extent of my contribution.
I feel like everybody did a little bit of rock work somewhere, even if it was just a few little bits. There's just so much rock work. It's rock work, the park, the experience.
Yeah, we're always really worried that the rock work it was just going to be, brown as a theme was going to be talked about with this. So this is why we use the new fish objects to start getting the gradients within the rock work. And just go like dark to light upwards. Yeah.
Which one was the first one? It was like this one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was the first
That was the one where we all looked at and we were like, oh my gosh.
Okay, that's so the theme. Just that gradient alone is the theme. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much. And like Jens always has these really amazing gradients. So when he went on holiday, we were all just shitting ourselves that we had to start matching this landscaping work through the rest of the park. It was like really scary. But I think we got there. It was a good lesson for everyone. And Mamarias did pretty much the landscaping along with Rob on the outside of the map with all the caves, which is just so good. I love what Mike did there.
I'm sure with enough
really
time they would have
fun.
been like populated with stuff like in Sababhamba's
Yeah,
Rest.
we were thinking about getting more cave paintings in there and loads of different scenes, which would have been quite cool.
But then we thought, can't be bothered. You don't deserve it. You people have had enough amazing Roller Coaster Tycoon from us.
Yeah.
Shay was working on the rapids there as well. Shay did this really great underwater landscaping and rock work.
Damn, that was Shay? What a legend.
A lot of people have been loving that the rapids follow.
Yeah, like honestly, I like finished up the music on the day before, and I was like, guys, that's it from me. I was in hospital that day. Do you remember that? Good lord.
You were,
yeah. I was sent to A&E by 111. So like I got back from that, and I was like, oh, I need to finish this music, and then on the Sunday, like the deadline day, like I'd had to do everything that I'd failed to do on the Saturday and all the stuff I had to do on the Sunday. So I was like, the Lord is the only one who can help you now. and then I opened it on Monday, having come back from all that stuff, and I was just like, oh my God, what the hell happened? You turned this from something that we were going to be really proud of, but it was going to be, it is how it is, into something that was just amazing. So I really must...
This would have been competitive in the real final. Don't at me.
I think so. Yeah. Imagine if things had been different. Eh? We can all sit here and do that.
I just want to say one thing, because I know he's not going to say it himself, but Captain JK really is. He gave obviously well-deserved shout-outs to Jens and Marias, but let's be honest, if it wasn't for him, he put in some crazy hours on this park, especially in sort of like the initial, like there was 8 days left, and those initial like days 1 through 3, really sort of that back left corner of the map. He set the standard really high, and I'm not sure without sort of that boost, we would have had the motivation to get this park finished, let alone where it is. And frankly, I think we all agree that 30% maybe a little light for the captain. So he was being humble the whole time. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out because he's not going to say it himself.
Oh,
absolutely. He's too humble.
It kind of like, it goes without saying that JK is like a lead by example, like leader. JK would never ask anyone to do something he wouldn't do or has done already. So it's really inspiring across all these projects to see JK working and to work with the GOAT himself. Best captain. Do not at me.
Very kind, thank you.
Fuck you.
Just really quickly, can we talk about the Switchosaurus, because Hex and I love it.
Yeah, it's just really just, leaned into the theme there. I love it.
Hexy, do you want to go for it?
I got lucky with this layout. So, honestly, the first layout, I think, on the map, was the first third of the rapids, back when it was still just contained in that big pool. But the first coaster was the dive.
Yeah.
Obviously, the inspiration for that is Baron 1898. I don't know how to say it in Dutch or whatever it is, so I apologize. I know it's like something that I probably can't do with too much phlegm. I got lucky with those two layouts. The giant Woody that Sammy and I did it took a little bit longer, but like the dive coaster, that giant rock formation, only the little nubby thing on the right was there. So I'm like, okay, like I know we want water here, blah blah blah. And I tried to make it like wrap in itself, and then Jens like added to that and made like the giant spire, and like we were talking about how the gradients on that are sick. So I just kind of sent that layout out, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know if this is anything anyone wants, and they're like, no, don't delete this or something. Then I think my efforts went to helping out with like the big Woody. So Switchosaurus was the last one, but I also think Switchosaurus came together the quickest. JK loved the Coma Junior boomerang in Murder in McAllen. I think Jens had made that. And he's like, "Is there a wood version of that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, there's if anyone knows Switchback at ZDTs and somewhere in Texas, that's pretty much what this is based off of." And I will be honest, and I shat this layout out when JK went to take his dog out for a walk, and he came back and it was there, and I'm like, "Is this good?" And he's like, "Yeah." So the only concern we had was getting the supports to not block a lot of the houses carved out of stone back there. So JK put like a little spire in the middle, and I thought it looked a little too flimsy, so like I kind of sprawled out a bit on it and added a bit more bulk. Pardon me. But I mean, it was so much fun piecing the supports and stuff together, because he had mentioned, I don't even remember whose idea it was to have part of the river rapids go into the tar pits, but that was early, and it was, but I need to say this, it was before Meccha came out, so we did not know that they were also doing something with like an oil slick river rapids. That just happened to come true, and that ride's pretty sweet too, a little underrated.
Yeah, and this is like very clearly like a La Brea tar pit sort of reference thing, so
yeah.
it was always going to be in there full stop, so...
Yeah.
The very layered... Yeah. The very like layered terrain there is just like, it was so much fun to piece together and stuff. And like I did the layout and I couldn't quite see, like I knew, we're gonna do like marsh pit, but the next day I came back and there was like rough landscaping with like those loader rocks. It was like all just loader rocks, and we were planning on how the path might go over it and all that stuff. And that, like, after what happened with Donkey Kong Country, like it was in that moment that I was like fully on board, and I was like really excited to build when I would get home from work and stuff, and like reinvigorated my little love for the game and stuff. So yeah, I think it came together pretty well. It was fun.
I think this was the part the team needed to just like kind of recover a little bit from Donkey Kong, build some cool stuff together, have fun, do a really great theme that we were all like super passionate about. We've been talking about it for a while. So I feel like this park has just allowed us to end the season like really, really strong.
I agree. And on that note of positivity, you're all banished.
Just really quick shout out. FK built on this, and he really didn't have to. He's had a ton of stuff going on in his real life, so thank you very much to FK for building on this. And also Parker built an insane amount of amazing objects that we'll probably see again and again. So shout out to Parker as well. Parker did all the waterfall work that looks beautiful that we loved in round 5. So that was the brief there as well. And obviously we've got the kind of the flowing shea grass that we've seen in quite a few parks now. Obviously Shea has created the moment with that amazing object. So hopefully we see more moving trees and bushes soon, because Shea is awesome. And yeah, I think that's it in terms of everyone that built on the park.
We need to give a huge shout out to Dino. He was like our only multiplayer provider, and he and his family were out, presumably like about to have lunch, and we had mentioned that the server crashed. He detoured his entire family to run home, left them in the car with it running, sprinted inside, put the server back on. And then before we could even acknowledge anything, I think his family was like pushing the car down the hill, and he like hopped back in the driver's seat and was gone. And it immediately crashed, which was, we were like, no, but like for him to do all that effort was like super, super kind. And just to have the multiplayer, those like the last like week and a half, 2 weeks was
such a game changer. Yeah.
Amazing. And yeah, we like really appreciate all the efforts that he put in.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Dino, that multiplayer on the Saturday night, I think there was about 6 of us building. I think possibly at one time.
The park wouldn't have gotten finished.
It wouldn't have gotten finished without Dino.
So many legends, so little time. would very much like to make sure we get to talk about the other folk who are here. Who have we got? Before I formally banish these lot.
Cheers, Sammy.
Thank you again,
lots
Sammy.
of love to you guys. Thank you so much for coming on and talking about this stuff. Really, really, really appreciate it.
Thanks.
What a bunch of folks, eh? What a crazy group of individuals. Scoopy is typing. Scoopy, are any of your folks around? I'm going to open up Super Nintendo World tentatively.
Also, Sammy, I would check just to see if your OBS is still going. Just so you don't have
I
any
have
hiccups.
been, yeah. Literally,
Okay, good.
You'll see it on like the playback. If you watch the playback, I'm going to be opening it up every 2 moments. To be fair, it's the only time it's ever crashed for me, literally ever. And it's funny that it was during Liam because it makes it seem deliberate. It's the sort of thing I'd do to Liam. Poor guy. And Morgan as well. Heartbreaking.
I don't think anyone who built on the park is here.
Would
Josh
you be
was here. Oh man, I'm not one to speak on this park. Are you kidding me? I can gush about it.
You are the mastermind, though.
No, this is Josh's baby.
Oh, for sure. But you invented Josh.
No, he invented me.
Okay.
He was a captain before I was a captain. There you go.
This is true. This is true. You know, you learned from the best, and now you've become the best. This is the park that got you to the finals.
It is, and I'm super grateful for it, even though it broke my rule of no IP. But what can you do? Yeah.
So what caused you to give it the go ahead? Were they rebelling? Were they building this great park?
It was a combination of it's Josh, let him do what he wants, and so originally the Rio Park that's been shown a bit was supposed to be cell shaded just like this. Well, not just like this, but using the pieces that were made for this park. So it only made sense to keep or use them because that was a lot of time and effort to just throw them away. So I think that was the biggest reason. And it was something that was very easily recreatable with the time given. And Walt and Josh were super motivated to build on it. I think part of it was the fact that we had gone to Universal not too long before we started doing this, and that helped a lot as well. So,
damn. Well, from your perspective, what if they were here to defend themselves? What do you think was like the biggest challenge when it came to doing this? Would it be like the object creation, do you reckon?
I think it was the overall composition of the map. We were very adamant, or Josh was very adamant about keeping it in a square format, and it was kind of a decision. Initially, instead of Zelda, I think, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they were planning on possibly doing a what was it? Luigi's Mansion type area.
Oh, interesting.
And the reason why they didn't go with that, I keep saying I had no part in it. The reason why they didn't go with that is because they just didn't want to have, it would have been another huge dark ride and didn't want to have too much building space. And I think that was the right move. And I really like the Zelda area and how it turned out. So yeah, I think it was good. I'll tell you what, the whole park makes me want to do it, but especially that the music in Zelda makes me want to build my own park.
I'm surprised that we haven't, especially since the release of Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. I'm surprised we haven't seen more Zelda stuff.
I know. It's very interesting. Like the last time we saw it, what was the last time we saw Zelda in any kind of way? I think it was head to head a while back, right?
Was there Zelda in head to head? I know that
I think
Trav was building a Zelda thing, literally. Or was that a Pokemon thing? Literally like maybe 2 decades ago.
I don't know. I don't even think I was around 2 decades ago.
You weren't born.
No, I was.
Born. You were loving it. Blimey. Yeah, that's staggering that. I wonder. Because you don't see too much Star Wars stuff, do you? So we still Lost Stilleth, or whatever, however you pronounce it. And then before that, it was another Hurricanes park where there was Star Wars. You would have thought we'd see way more Star Wars.
Yeah.
So these IPs, I feel like there's a pretty global sort of disinclination. Like people tend to turn away from it more than they turn toward it.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with I think there's a trend where any used to gravitate heavily towards IP driven parks. Like a lot, and mostly like real life examples. So Disney, Universal, that kind of
Six
stuff.
Flags,
But even like media, it was pretty prevalent 10, 15 years ago. And I think we've just gotten to a point where we want to create our own stuff. And I think that's why this works specifically, because we've created our own aesthetic for the game, and that was also a big reason why it was a safe bet to actually let them build it as well.
Yeah, it's certainly not something that's like that is like market saturation. It's very fertile ground. Especially when you're executing them at this sort of level as well, just really sort of going hell for leather and leaving no stone unturned. There was this area obviously makes me think bedroom incident, because we had 2 Donkey Kong things. And that's kind of crazy. That's kind of absolutely wild.
It is. Granted, it doesn't surprise me given that Donkey Kong was a possibility for head-to-head in the past.
Yeah. Which is something that I don't personally get, because I was never a Donkey Kong person.
It's definitely not one of the more popular IPs in the Nintendo, I guess, universe, right?
But you got to admit, Donkey Kong has shooters out there. Donkey Kong has some die-hard fans.
It is infectious. I love the games personally, but this is probably my favorite area of the park. This ride, Hobion did such a great job with the hack for this ride, and I don't remember exactly who built on it. I think it was a combination of Hobion, Josh, and I think Malpier as well. But this turned out very, very, very well. I love it.
Hard to deny. We had 2 amazing Donkey Kong parks, and at the same time, like, I don't really feel like they tread on each other's toes all that much, just because of the completely distinct art style that you went for here compared to our more like conventional RCT one. If we'd both gone like conventional RCT, we would have had issues. There would have been a lot more comparison, I think.
Well, not only that, but then it's 2 different settings. This is a theme park. It's very clearly a theme park, and then your map is very clearly set in the world.
Yeah.
So I think
diegetic.
So I think that really helped in shying away from huge comparisons.
Yeah. I'm just very glad we got both, though. We've spoiled
Me too.
rotten. Donkey Kong fans ate this season.
I'm super glad that Nin was able to see his original idea realized to some capacity.
Yeah, we're hoping there's a Snyder cut comes out in the original 4:3 aspect ratio with everyone's contribution on it. Because I'm looking forward for people to see that, because that will blow everyone's minds just how awesome that one was. So bear that in mind, everybody. Do you think, here's a question, you don't have to answer this because this is a question regarding secrets. Are there any like situations like that in your team where there's some amazing stuff that just didn't make it to the light of day that there's a possibility of us seeing in the future?
Honestly, I don't really think so.
Damn. So all of your hard work was pretty efficiently placed then.
The only other than Fred's Constantinople Park, because he has shown that there, so that might be coming from him.
Hope so.
But then I know Gamma has talked about possibly doing Rio to some extent, but all of our parks outside of those two have kind of been realized. There were once we got our concepts down, we kind of stayed with them and didn't deviate at all. Well,
you're a lucky sausage.
Yeah, I know that doesn't happen often.
Yeah, that's fortunate. I guess like half of the game is luck at the end of the day, especially when you're up against such like amazing other teams as well. You've kind of got to be an amazing team and be quite fortunate with everything as well.
We got so lucky.
Yeah.
I know that. I think we all know that.
Well, I think some teams had some bad luck and some teams had good luck.
Very much so, yeah.
You just need it. You need it to edge out the competition in this most prestigious of competitions when everybody's bringing their A game. So there's no shame in it. You need the good luck, but also at the same time, if you guys weren't worthy of you need to actualize upon that luck. You've got to be in the position to use that luck. So certainly don't be looking at it like, oh man, we don't deserve that. I know you don't think that because you've.
Oh no. We're very proud of what we've put out for any.
Well, thank God for that.
Yeah, we wanted to create parks that were unique and that were very engaging, very I guess that drew you in and wanted you to explore more and find the little details, find the hidden references, and I think we've been able to do that in most, if not all, of our parks.
I agree. Man, what a treat.
Josh, speak, please.
Help us out, Josh.
What happened?
It's your turn.
I just finished work.
We're looking at Super Nintendo World right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
yeah, that's the park.
That's the one. Is there anything that you want to say? We've had a wonderful insight from Scoopy, of course, but
I don't know what has already been said.
Nothing like specific, sort of like process-wise. So I guess a question I'd have for you is like, what was the process like, sort of bringing this thing to life?
The process was kind of me wanting an excuse to have like this cel-shaded look, I guess. Starting with a different park that Gamma was leading that kind of wasn't feeling after a while, so we changed it. I'm like, well, if we're gonna do this look, let me just
bully Scoop into letting me do Nintendo instead. So just because it's like there's no like IP, like that was kind of the rule. But I'm like, well, I don't know if we're gonna do this kind of like vibe, we might as well go for Nintendo, and it's like kind of like an excuse to use these objects. So, yeah, I mean, obviously using the real park as like a basis to kind of base it off of with the Donkey Kong Land and the Mushroom Kingdom. The rest was kind of like let's see what we can use to make it like feel, I guess, essentially like if Universal would build this, but the approach to it wasn't like we're not going to go realistic. We want to go almost like you're looking at like a park map or like a model. So it's like you're not going to get the real life details. You're not going to get the grittiness. You're going to get like an idealized version of something. So that's kind of where it came from, where it's like I don't want to ruin the cell shaded look by adding HVAC systems. Like I want it to look like you're almost looking at an illustration of something, even though it's a real park.
Yeah, damn,
So
that's a
that's
good
kind of
point.
where it came from.
Just incidentally, this is a true image of Fred going 47 in a school zone. Just
Hold on one second.
Looking at Fred on the cinema screen.
Sorry, the dog came in the room, wants to play with a toy.
Oh, we love it. We love that kind of nonsense on this stream.
Hold on. Here's a live.
Oh.
But yeah, no. So sorry, I'm scattered right now. But no, the Nintendo, the Zelda area was built by mostly Walt in like a day or two. It was more so like I'm like, yo, let's expand this park, make it bigger, and now instead of doing just 2 areas, let's make a third area. What should we put? Oh, let's put Zelda. And then like within like a day, Walt's like, all right, here's Zelda. More or less. I mean, Mulpia did quite a bit. I think he did like I want to say he did that temple area. He did the tree. I did the very beginning, like I did the path and then like the grass color to kind of show them like a test of what the area could look like, and then they just kind of took off from there. I think the only thing I actually built in the Zelda area was the scene with the sword and like the light with the glass. That's the only thing I touched over here.
That's awesome, though. That's like definitely one of the coolest moments.
But no, it's a lot of fun. Like it was kind of an excuse to get these pieces out. Like I said, I knew people wouldn't like it, and that's kind of the point. If we're gonna lean this far into pushing the meta and changing the way people think about head-to-head parks or RCT in general, why not just put your pedal all the way down and go all the way and do something crazy? So people can complain that it's a different look, it doesn't look right, or it's too gimmicky, and it's like, well, that's the point because we've leaned into that for the past how many years during head-to-head. So like you can complain about that, but it's like, haven't we all been doing the same exact thing? So that was, to me, it was kind of fun to push that and see and expect the reactions that we got, because we definitely got the reactions I was expecting. Where it's like, this is an RCT, we said that multiple times while we were building, like to ourselves, like, yo, this is an RCT. And then as soon as other people saw the park, that was their initial thought was, this is an RCT. Like, well, good, we're successful.
And I guess at the end of the day, like those people have their vote. They can use it if they want. if you don't like it, don't vote for it. That's really the thing at the end of the day.
I don't really care if we get votes or get like a score or whatever. It's like, I just want to get this out there because it's cool. Like that was my motivation for it. Like this is an awesome looking, unique thing that's now on my page forever. And if it got us a win, great. Sorry to the team if we lost, but it was a lot of fun. Like as we were building it, like we all kind of had to like pause and think like, yo, this looks completely different than anything else we've ever seen. And it kind of like the charm of it was lost on us as we kept building because we got so used to it. But for people who've never seen it before, it was like, man, what on earth is this? So there's a bunch of fun little details, like a lot of movement. The object editor was fun because we got to I got to abuse that essentially. Being able to easily make animation compared to how it used to be in the past. These objects did not really take me that long to do. It was more so figuring out which ones to do. It was what took so long. But actually sitting down and making one didn't take long at all. So there's definitely a trade-off because I didn't build as much as I wanted to in this park. I more so just gave my team the tools to build.
Someone got to do it.
Yeah, thankfully. Thankfully, we have a team of people who like to take direction, and they take direction very well, and they don't get upset when you give them feedback.
That's the dream.
But yeah,
I threatened to leave 4 or
not gonna
5
harp on it too
times
long.
when anyone made a comment about anything I built.
I mean, it's always important to stick to your guns, of course, if you believe strongly about something. You know, Coop and I have definitely had our disagreements on things, but that's to be expected and that's healthy. You know, being able to work past it and figure out why is this person feeling that way? Why are they wanting me to change this? You know, and sometimes sometimes you change it, and sometimes you don't. But I think it's there's value in kind of having that back and forth, and ultimately being able to trust each other. And I think our team overall has done a really good job about that. Um, you know, everyone's kind of done really great to like rally around in like the final moments, whether it's a park that needs to get finished or pushed over the finish line. You know, like the last week, I'll have to post a before and after, but like the last week of building of this park compared to where it is now it was insane. Like I don't think anyone on our team thought this was going to get done, myself included. Poor Gustav like drove us crazy. Like, hey, how's the park? What's the status? Like, but it's true. Like it was to be expected because it did not look like it was going to get finished. I think we started it at the end of June.
Damn. Well, I, for one, am glad that it made it to see the light of day. And what's more, be impactful and win its matchup and get you that spot in the finals. Yeah. It had a lot riding on its shoulders at the end of the day, didn't it?
That's true. I mean, it's funny, like this head-to-head for me, it's almost like the same as it was last time, where it's like I build round one, a park with lava, I lose round one, and then I win semis with some ridiculous idea. So
hey,
just don't build lava-based parks in round one.
That's the takeaway, yeah. Well, the true takeaway is never go up against the Lonely Hearts Club in round one.
That's true, yeah.
Never go up against Sammy.
I think we severely underestimated how hard you guys would be coming out swinging. So,
well, you guys had a scary team. We couldn't have half-assed it. Otherwise, you would have won.
That's true, yeah. But yeah, no, I think the coolest parts of this park were the ones built by people who had like zero knowledge about Nintendo or the rides. Like Obion and Mopie pretty much built most of the Donkey Kong Temple ride, not knowing any context that it was actually a real ride that's being built. So I gave Hobion like a POV video of the ride layout on YouTube, and he just followed it to a T. And Walt came through, added a bunch of things. Mopie came through, added a bunch of things. I think the only thing I built in Donkey Kong was like the grass, like the wall trim along the building, and then like I think I placed a couple bees. So it's like, but again, like almost all of the objects you see were me kind of meticulously making the object. So it's like even though I didn't build it, it's still we all worked very closely together to get the tools we needed. And for those of you that might think the object making is very exclusive to those who know how to do it, I spent 4 minutes in voice chat with Walto to show him how to use the editor, and then he made like 60 objects in the span of a week. So it's very easy and accessible to those who want to learn and choose to spend their time learning. You know, it's not like writing a plugin from scratch or making a palette or even writing music. You know, like music is not accessible to everybody, but anyone can rip audio from YouTube and turn it into an object. So I think when it comes to extra things that aren't necessarily RCT but contribute to a park, object making is one of the easier ones to pick up. You know, so to me that's like that's an excuse, and people can say that it's hard. I think people like Tulsamir have made it very, very easy and accessible for everybody. So he's our true MVP of the team.
Amazing.
But amazing. I know it's late, man. Go to bed. I got to get going.
But you're going to hear my head slam into the desk any minute now.
Yeah, dude.
I've been awake since half full.
This is the time in your streams where I can tell you start to fade, so I'm not going to be one of those nerds who rambles on. So have a good night.
Thank you so much for chatting. I really appreciate it. Thanks for making the time. Getting off work and neglecting your dog for these moments to give us all this knowledge. I really appreciate it.
Oh, she's fine.
Amazing. And thank you to Scoop as well. Lots of love to you guys. And best of luck in that big old final that you're competing in right now. Now, I'd very much like for... I guess they've all gone now. We've literally got 2 teams here right now. There's only 2 teams. So something tells me we're not going to get that other Dam Busters Park looked at. But I do want to feature it in the stream. So let's all... I'll be looking at the chat and I'll be reading out stuff. And if people want to pipe up and talk about it with me, that's absolutely fine. But let's look at...
Let's use an AI voice to pretend like it's Subaru.
Absolutely. Get it going. Yeah, look at this dang old thing.
I wish that I had the new objects to give him before he built this park. Like the lighting objects.
Oh man, that would have been something.
I feel like most of the animated objects I make with him in mind. Like, I'm like, how's Subaru going to use this?
How's Subaru going to revolutionize fantasy park making this time?
Exactly.
It's just so awesome. It's just so cool, and it's so glad that the environment was created. That, you know, maybe it was 50% necessity and 50%, you know, having the good opportunity to. That's actually path there. Okay. 50% necessity of like, oh, we have to have something, let's get something built, and then the other 50% of like, oh, fantastic, I get to do this as well.
So you can look at it and tell it's like, it's definitely stream of consciousness, but like in a good way. It's stream of consciousness made by people who clearly know what they're doing and how to lay things out design wise. And so it's like, to me, it's like I liked it immediately because it's composed beautifully and there's a lot of care put into it, but you can tell it was done quickly. You know, you can tell it was done kind of off the cuff, and that's what I like about it, because it's like, it's almost like a more pure form of art. So it's like, I wasn't kidding when I said it's one of my favorite parts of the contest. You know, despite what people think, I think it's really cool. It shows clear intent, clear love and care has been put into it. But I'll hop off.
100% agree. Thank you, Josh. Really appreciate you coming in and chatting and giving your insight on this one as well. Be good. Yeah, if anyone else wants to pipe up, like, please do. Or else I'll do it on my own, because I want to make sure that the Dam Busters know that they're appreciated, because they certainly are. Really awesome coaster from Alex as well. This was Alex, Andrew, and Hubaru, I think, was on this. And what a combination. Like, 3 of just like the best builders, just full stop. And this is what they can put together at short notice. And it is bold. It is intentional. It is really vivid. And, you know, there's little signs that it's unfinished, like this little bit here. Maybe that's intentional. What does it mean? What does it mean? What do the numbers mean, Mason? And like this cute thing here. Yeah. It's goddamn amateur hour shit. But yeah, what a... Yeah, I'm just really glad that we get stuff like this still, because people might look at this and think, oh, it's unfinished, or they forgot to colour it in. But to the thinkers out there, the real fart sniffers, we're going to pretend we understand it.
Is this one of the first parks we've seen where we've seen the white kind of void used instead of the black void? Because I think that looks really successful.
I think so. I think you're right on that, yeah. We got a little diagonal.
It's cool. There's guys play around with like texture as well, like those circles that kind of indented in the ground. It was really nice as well. Some of like the faces coming out of those circular sections. There's like a lot of artistic craft that's gone into this, a lot of composition, almost like pictures that you'd see in a gallery, like a surrealist gallery, are kind of coming to life. with the park. So yeah, just really quick comments from me, but just shout out to the builders. It's funky.
It's goddamn funky. Thank you, JK. So here we are, welcoming back Morgan and Liam to make up for a technical fault with OBS. Didn't record the arguably one of the most entertaining parts of the stream. But we have the tremendous honour to have them back here now to regale us with the making of Sonnental, the Semifinals park from the Dam Busters. So without further ado, I'd like to hand you over to the two artisans themselves to tell us all about Sonnental.
Am I starting then?
I presume you're starting, yeah, Liam.
Well, this is Sonnental. As you can see, you've probably seen it before. And maybe it makes sense to explain how this park came to be. Because maybe we have to go back to round 5. We didn't expect to qualify for the playoffs because the season was not going all that well. But then during round 5, it became clear that we would be qualifying after all. And we didn't really have any parks in the works, or rather not something that actually got off the ground. So then we said, okay, Alex, Andrew, and Hoop are going to make one park, which became Garden of Light, and then I would start another one, which would be the final. And well, they went to work and they did Garden of Lights in 3 weeks. And I started another park after some brainstorming. And that park was not Sonnental. One of the things we talked about all season was taking some old designs or something like that and updating it to the 2024 style of building. Solaris by Slop, for example, was one of them. And I also liked Hawkeye, which is also Slop. So then I thought maybe I can put several of these coasters on the same map and make it like a Slop tribute, but make it like a 2024 realistic park. And I know that's not a very deep concept and it's not likely to win you any matches in head-to-head, but it would be something that I could see us finish. And I think it would be a likable park, which for me is right now enough. I just want to build parks that I like. So I started that park. I started laying out the macro, and it was going to be named Trailmatic, which is also a Slop reference. I had some pretty decent layouts, a nice thing that looked like actual Solaris and not just the colors. Same with Hawkeye, and I was going to do a Slop-esque hoodie. But it didn't really get off the ground. Like no one really felt inspired to jump on board, and it wasn't really taking off. And one problem with the park was that these coasters, Hawkeye, Solaris, they don't have any distinct themes. Like you kind of have to, imagine what the things are representing. And in Solaris, you had these brick buildings with wooden roofs. And if you squint your eyes, you could maybe imagine it's like Swiss chalet style architecture. So I just decided, okay, the Solaris area is going to be like solar punky and Swiss. The other areas I didn't know what to do with it, and at some point I decided, fuck it, I'm just gonna do just a Solaris type thing because I was feeling the Swiss solar punk, and that's how this map started. And I think it was 3 weeks before the deadline that I decided this, and yeah, to actually get it to where it was now, that took some time. I think we essentially built it in 10 days in the end. And I think half of it was built in the last 2 days. Because progress was slow. I was traveling, I was in hostels, I was having a good time, and there were several days of me not building at all. So it was kind of a miracle speed build in the end. And I was in touch with JK several times because it looked like the third place match wasn't gonna happen because they had trouble getting their park off the ground as well. They were burnt out. So I thought, okay, third place is up for grabs. We're just gonna make any park just a fun park, and let's hope it's good. And then we might actually get third place with it. Well, we all know that didn't really turn out that way. I think JK was a bit too modest about it. But that's okay. I mean, they also pulled off a miracle, and their miracle was greater than ours. So fair play. And I can't say I'm unhappy with the outcome of this. Like, we delivered the park. It's finished. It's a miracle. I like the park. It's been received well for what it is. I agree with the criticisms. I agree with the things people have been saying. And the best park won. So it's all good. I think that covers most of the making of aspects. Maybe I've forgotten one thing. Like, this was a speed build. And I think it's only finished because I made some decisions in the building style that allowed for it to be built at this pace. Like, it would have been nicer if the mountain was made of fish rocks. But doing it like this allowed me to essentially build a mountain in minutes. In a way, I use Scenery Manager a lot. Some really cool tricks. I mean, I think they're cool. Some buildings were copy-pasted, and then the details were there to add variation. A lot of it was really fast. And I think that saved it in the end. If we aimed higher, it would have been unfinished. So that explains some of the simplicity of the map.
I hear what you're saying, and in a sense, I kind of disagree that it would look better if it were fish rocks. And the thing that I really like this map. I've made no secret of that. And I think the thing that I like about it is that it is sort of unapologetically what it is. And part of what it is the way it presents the mountain, the way it's got a very consistent, solid theme that goes all throughout. Huge dominant coaster. And that's the vibe, right? And it has a strong vibe, pulled off well. And some people might say, oh, it's not head-to-head worthy, blah, blah, blah. I think everybody speed built and everybody had amazing parks, and those people need better taste, is what I'd say. Speaking of huge dominant coaster, Morgan, tell us a bit about that process for you. I understand you're the mastermind behind it.
Yeah, so to kind of go off of what Liam said about the speed build aspect of this park, it was definitely tough to get people on board, including myself. I don't excuse myself from that because I also moved across the country during head-to-head and had limited myself unintentionally on the amount of time I was able to contribute. So by the time I finally got my computer all set up at my new place, we had, I think, less than 2 weeks left, and we really needed a layout fast. Liam had the macro all set up, and so I think I had finished setting up my computer at like midnight, and I was just like, okay, I'll give it a shot before I go to bed. And basically just shat out the first half of this layout and went to bed, and then over the next day or two, tweaked it a little bit and added the ending, and that's the coaster that ended up on the map. And then pretty much immediately after it was done, started working on support work just to keep that momentum going. And and as I was doing that, we started to get some help from Roy G. Biv and Alvin Wood, who keeping it off the ground and keeping it alive. And I don't want to leave their names out of this because they definitely contributed, and this park wouldn't be as it wouldn't be in the finished state that it is if it weren't for them. But yeah, that being said, I'm really proud of the coaster I made. I think it's definitely one of my best layouts. Super proud of the support work. I think it really comes across as the Intamini early 2000s sort of like structurally ugly but still somehow beautiful in a way Intaminess that was very prevalent at the time, sort of inspired by Millennium Force and Expedition G-Force. But yeah, I was just really proud of it, and I'm glad I got to contribute it.
I think we mentioned on the Lost stream that whereas the original Solaris is way more inspired by like the, what is it, Superman Ride of Steel at like Darien Lake or something. This is more the sort of turn of the century Millennium Force sort of thing, and I think that's like an interesting
really, right now,
like push forward. Say again?
I have that. I have the Solaris design open right now, and it's very much like that sort of Superman the ride, and I also see like a tiny bit of Megalite inspiration, if I'm not mistaken. But
was that contemporaneous to Slob? When was he?
I believe so. I believe so. I think is it Piraten in Jers Summerland opened in like 2005, and Solaris?
No, it was later. Solaris is pre-Megalite.
Ah, okay.
Maybe they looked at Solaris and had some ideas.
Yeah, he was looking into the future.
Maybe they're going to look at the solar panels on these train cars and have the same brainwave. Like the world's first solar-powered coaster.
Oh yeah, I think I said something during the stream about how there's no chain lift, and people took to assuming that the solar panel on the coaster is the power source for getting the train up the hill, and that's just a nice coincidence, I think, because I think it was Liam's idea to add the solar panel on the back of the train, but there's just no lift hill sprites for the lift, so it just works out.
Hey, a little bit of what you call it, serendipity.
Yeah,
take you across the finish line there. I wonder what percentage of like head-to-head parks are just sort of happy coincidences that just sort of work, or it gets to the people's interpretation side of things, and then people go, wow, and it has the same number of ribs as the Eurasian hawk. Isn't that amazing? And you're just like, wow, I had no idea, but yes, that was intentional. I think another thing that we spoke about on the stream was the what little details are you wanting to highlight for anyone who may have missed them?
I can highlight some of the small features that may be overlooked. I think that, I mentioned this one. I must mention a lot of the ideas, especially the little things, were very last minute additions without all that much reflection. Like the build was so slow and so last minute, and in the last 2 days really accelerated, and we got into a flow. Well, better late than never. And this is, I think I did it in the last hour maybe even. I just plopped some shit down. Like the cable car, just notice how incredibly simple it is. It's just cable car towers with each 2 objects on top. And then even the way where it goes into the mountain is just done with minimal amount of objects, just a matter of minutes. It's really simple. But yeah, I figured the theme here is kind of like a futuristic thing. It implies some kind of climate change. So what used to be pine forest is now more Mediterranean foliage. And what used to be above the tree line is now pine forest, what used to be in the valley. So it all shifted. And glaciers have disappeared, and what was a ski resort is now something else. So you have this old ski infrastructure, like the cable car and the chairlift, and it's all kind of defunct. But I must say, so the cable car is one thing. One of the cable cars.
Could you just go back to the beginning of that thought? It just cut out.
Yeah, sorry. I think my Wi-Fi connection is rather shit. It was better in my hostels. Did I cut out before?
It may have, but
is that a yes?
That one. I don't know. I think the last thing that you said was. I actually can't remember. I've been thrown off.
Oh well.
Just go back to the beginning of the thought you were having, because I didn't miss a lot of it.
Okay, so defunct ski infrastructure, cable car, planter, but there should have been more old ski shit. But one other thing that is there is the bike trail, because it's either an old glacier path or a former ski piste. Yeah, you can tell by the shape. It's used to be something, and I suppose with the chairlift it was probably a ski piste. So yeah, that's one of the features of the map. Another thing I liked myself is right there at the bottom, the beehives with the beekeeper. I've used this trick in several parks with like the smoke object to look like bees, like a swarm of bees, but quite like it. As well as the orchid on the left.
I love this part here with like the monorail on the grass just coming through, and you've got the orchard and this little river running through and all the nice foliage. It's not anything like pioneering, but it's just really competent park making. I love it. And then of course we've got the sunflower town that you wanted to have be more prominent, but it didn't quite pan out.
Yeah, so I started with the idea, okay, Switzerland.
Okay, you cut off at the word Switzerland.
Sell well, but it's there. So it's like a village on a...
So go back to...
What?
You cut out at the word Switzerland. So if we rewind to the word Switzerland and go from there.
Okay, Switzerland, solar punk. I was thinking, what can I do with it? Yeah. So I started brainstorming, and I had the idea of a village set on a giant cogwheel, and the village could rotate to face the sun for whatever reason. I don't need a good reason, it's fantasy. So yeah, that's there.
Oh no, Liam, got better internet.
It's more resource intensive, time intensive, and I didn't get to do it. So it's very bare bones. But it's there, and some of the ideas that I like are the roads and how they can disconnect and connect as the road as the cogwheel turns.
I love that.
The other side also.
I think it's great.
Yeah, there's another one there. It's kind of hidden. So yeah. I like the idea still. The solar panel that we talked about at the train was just a very random, like, I'll just add a solar panel. And then people liked it, and I kept it. One detail most people had not seen, I think, is the painting class, which is like on the map edge. Yeah, right there. There's even a nude model, and his clothes are hung, right there. I thought it was quite fun, and it kind of fitted the mood of this dystopian utopia, or utopian dystopia. I always mix them up. But it looks like a good time.
Looks bloody lovely.
Sorry?
Looks bloody lovely.
Yeah. It's where I want to retire. Anyway, if we go up, there's one more thing I think I want to point out. Which is the tower. There was also an early idea, same with the cogwheel, and that's why they're both perhaps the most sci-fi-like things on the map. I just had the idea of having some modern architecture in there. This is the only thing really, but it's a tower shaped like, or referring to an Edelweiss flower. And I was really happy I managed to make it peepable, because usually when you add a lift, right, you have the 3x3 platform, and you place the huts on the outside. But with some tile inspector stuff, you can place the huts inside the 3x3 and then you rotate them.
Resourceful.
So that.
Amazing. Well, I love it. I really like this park. I'm really glad that we managed to have a match up for the third round match. We were very much in the same boat as you were, insofar as we weren't sure whether something was going to happen. But, you know, we all jumped on, we got the multiplayer going, and shit changed. So I'm really glad that we managed to show up and give like a worthy opponent for this park. And we had the immense joy of having 5 rounds, 5 parks in the finals, with the 5th place match included, which is not something you can say every day for head-to-head. So I'm glad that we managed to get that going and be a part of it. I would absolutely love to thank Liam and Morgan for making the time again to talk about this park. I'm glad that we have it saved for prosperity, and it manages to go into the video. Is there anything you'd like to say before we nip off?
There's one more thing.
You just go from the top of that thought again, Liam. Sorry, your internet's cut out. Liam, I
can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, well, there's some internet shit going on. I think it might be on your end.
You reckon? Can Morgan hear me? Okay, can Morgan hear you?
I can hear you and I can hear Liam, but both of you have been cutting out here and there, so maybe it's me. I don't know.
Oh damn! Maybe it's all 3 of us.
Confirming in the voice chat, but I think it's somewhat functional in the end. So I wanted to add something. I think around here would be the time where I would be startled by a cricket. Which didn't happen now, but I had at the start of the stream I had a mind-blowing revelation. So I was traveling, and during this traveling I usually have like Tinder and Bumble on, because I need some people to keep me company. And I matched with someone in Salzburg, which is where we did the stream, and it didn't click until right now, but her profile name is literally Cricket.
Damn.
This person is called Cricket. I can send a screenshot, but I'm kind of thinking like, was it her?
I think I you know, it's too much of a coincidence to not be, right?
It's kind of written in the stars.
Yes.
Like, I'm gonna send her a message. I think I'm gonna do long distance and shit. It's okay. What the fuck is this picture even?
Well, we all, everyone who's in the chat now, we're going to get an invite to the wedding, so stay tuned, 3 years' time. It's going to be in Switzerland, and it's going to be underwater.
Yeah, sure. Did we cover everything?
I think we did.
Right.
I've sufficiently suffered from deja vu this entire time.
Yeah, I just pretended I did it for the first time, but I think it was a pretty accurate reenactment of what we did earlier.
That's the problem, Liam. Minus the cricket, yeah. Oh, man. Oh, cricket. Anyway, it's an absolute joy to have you on again. Glad that we managed to get it recorded for prosperity. I do spot in Alex in the chat, would you like to talk about your semi-final parks, Alex? Did my audio cut out?
A little bit.
I think Alex is shy.
It's just cursed at this moment.
Sure, yeah. Let's keep the party going for 15 whilst Alex chows down, and then we can talk about that as well. Yeah.
Talk about the trees in Sonnental, because we didn't really cover that yet.
Oh yeah, let's talk about the trees.
Yeah, and you have yet to tell me to fuck off, but like for your branding.
I already told you to fuck off a bit too clearly with the recording breaking, although that was OBS telling you to fuck off.
Yeah, you have to say
fell
literally.
asleep. It fell asleep listening to you prattle on about trees. You've got the Che swaying trees. Love that boy.
You know what we can do? I can actually send you the Thrillmatic save.
Oh damn! Yeah, do it.
That could be kind of fun, maybe. Just give me 1 minute to dig it up.
Yeah.
I think I still have it. Yeah, it must be this one. August 6th is the date.
The better park. Oh man, look at this. Look at the crunch. Look at the finesse. Look at the thing which wouldn't have been possible without multiplayer and literally 11 people building on it. I think there were 6 people building on this at the same time. I wasn't one of them, because I was in hospital on one of the days. Because I had chest pains, and I kept waking up in the night. And then the man on the 111, when I rang up, the non-emergency number, bid me go to the hospital. And then I had to.
And was it worth it?
No, it wasn't. I guess it is worth it. They did like a bunch of tests and like x-rayed my chest and stuff. So I guess it's pretty nice to know that you don't have any tumours in your chest and stuff. So I guess that it was worth that. I know that the Americans in the audience would have had to pay about £14,000 for that, so feeling very appreciative for our socialised healthcare in the UK.
Yeah, I just found out I have a cavity and I don't have a job, so I'm just gonna have to deal with that.
Oh man.
How much is it?
I don't know. I don't want to find out.
Okay. I won't ask anymore, but I'm curious.
You can get this thing, right, called Fuji 9. And it is this like tube of stuff that they use at the dentist, and you can like fill in your own tooth.
Oh, okay. Can try that.
That is medical advice. You can sue me.
Right on.
Put some cement in.
Yeah, just some cement. Just some super glue. Why are we beating around the bush? And now I don't have to worry about doxing my what was the file name called? Sorry, Liam.
Jesus Christ. That's not it. H2HX underscore Thrillmatic.
Ooh.
I hope it's the right one. No, yeah.
Oh wow. So this is the macro.
Yeah, that was the early macro. I had a funicular in there.
That would have been funny. The second funicular.
And this was what I had for Thrillmatic. Just some sketching. But I quite like the layout for Solaris.
This would have been really cute.
It was quite a puzzle actually to fit these coasters on a head-to-head size map, because Hawkeye, the invert, has a kind of weird layout, a weird footprint. Like an L shape, you would usually want to stuff in a corner, but then you hide the best angles. So it was kind of difficult to come up with this meta. And then I wasn't done with the Woody yet, it's not good enough. Yeah, didn't get that far.
I think it's wise that you pivoted.
Sorry?
I think it's wise that you pivoted, because I can imagine this being very sort of overwhelming, whereas this can have a lot more focus. Even just like the map shape is a lot more focused, isn't it? It's,
Yeah. Oh, that was an early mock-up. I forgot about that.
Fascinating. Wow, you really see like bits of the DNA in here, don't you? I love this element here.
We could have just submitted this.
that do you reckon you would have, or would you have just forfeited?
Nah, never forfeit.
Never forfeit.
No.
I'm not a goddamn coward.
You can always squeeze something out. Yeah, and that's the thing I copy pasted on the test. But you can tell the foliage here was still not as subtropical. Quite like it with pines, but it didn't make all that much sense.
Yeah, it's a bit sort of like a bit whiplashy, isn't it?
Yeah, that was going to be Trillmatic.
There's still time.
Yeah, maybe. I do like the layouts, except the Woody. Solaris was a lot of fun to build. And Hawkeye, it's pretty good. Stays faithful to the slop invert, but without copying it.
What's it like size comparison wise? Is this like way smaller?
Oh, it's about the same, I think.
About the same. I've not looked at that one in ages.
It's not as good.
I was looking at Thrillmatic on the other day whilst I was waiting for the stream to kick off.
Yeah, I saw that.
It came up in the random maelstrom of parks that I was looking at. Fascinating. Let's all collectively dribble a bit over. Oh, what? Yes, it isn't this one. Sorry. Doopy 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 doo. Gardens of Light. So, Liam, what was your captain's perspective on this one? I guess that's interesting.
Hands off. Mostly. I just let them do their thing. And like at some point I did have some moments where I tried to add some focus to it. Because it's easy for a stream of consciousness map like this to become a dumping ground for random shit. And that would be a waste, because there's actual good stuff in here. It would be a waste to just turn it into a joke.
Yeah.
So I did have something to say about that. But as a captain, I didn't really do all that much for this park. It's all Alex for the meta, Andrew to just chip away at the map as he's been doing with Buxom too, slow and steady, and Hoops just added so much flavor to it. And I was at first like, Hoop is not known as a finisher. He had a reputation going into head-to-head. But he's a finisher. Like we did the Sailor, it's finished. He came in clutch with the ship, and he finished this one. Like he's been great. He's together with Alex, our team's MVP for sure.
I agree completely.
The dream team, Hoob and Alex. Seems obvious in hindsight.
They're so different, but they can complement each other.
Yeah, well, there's like stylistic similarity, and then there's sort of like philosophical similarity, and I feel like they've got a similar vibe about them. If not, you wouldn't mistake their parks if you get what I mean. But you'd I can definitely understand them working well together. I wonder what Alex is eating. Oh, here he is. So what were you eating? Let me guess. I think it was pasta.
No, it's some instant noodles. I'm actually still eating, but I thought I would jump in already and
all right, chat.
Kind of straighten the record out.
Did I say something wrong that you want to step in?
No, not at all. But yeah, it is cool building with Fubaru because like we do have like really different interests. Like he's really into like the sort of small like narrative details, and like for me it's really not a priority. Like I'm like, okay, whatever, if it looks cool it's good. But it's really nice to see how he like zooms in on stuff. And yeah, like for instance this sort of golf course bit here, like he was really, you know, he had this idea to make this sort of big blossom tree and then have these like guys sweeping the blossom off the mini golf stuff. But yeah, in terms of like the general direction of this, it's
okay, maybe it is my internet.
Like 3D graphics. So maybe I can find them actually that I put in the Discord.
Oh, do it. I'm ready.
Yeah, it was kind of it's quite random actually. Like they're just sort of, a lot of them are like record covers. So yeah, I'm putting them in the voice chat channel.
Oh wow.
They're really like, they're not like immediately obvious as visual reference. But it was somehow like, yeah, like some kind of surreal aesthetic, which had like a kind of seamlessness between like these sort of 3D landscapes and then some sort of like infinite void or like some sort of like polygon grid. Yeah, and then we thought like, okay, maybe we can try using sort of like a white void rather than what might have been typical for like sort of 3D digital space, which would be like a black void with a grid or something. But we thought like, let's flip that. Maybe it's more interesting. Now this was also like quite last minute, in that we just qualified for the playoffs, and we're like, you know, many people on the team I think weren't that active, but who was like, oh, you know, let's try and do something, right? Like let's kind of have a last roll of the dice. So we knew that we kind of needed to do something which would be quite forgiving if we couldn't finish it. And that's why, yeah, so much of this, we were able to like spam like things that were painted void colored around the edges and create some sort of, well, we could just easily fill stuff in. Although I think by saying like spamming stuff, that's maybe a disservice to Hoop, because he did quite a heroic job getting it finished. Like I think I last saw the save maybe like 3 days before the deadline, because I couldn't work on it at the end, but he really just like smashed it. Yeah, there wasn't like too much thought behind the composition of everything. It was just like starting from the layouts and then making something around that. So yeah, it was just built a couple of dueling coasters, which was fun. Made this like iridescent color in the palette, which turned out pretty well.
How do you do an iridescent color in the palette?
Yeah, so you just have to kind of have the whole sort of spectrum, but do it in such a way that it's not looking like too jarring or glitchy. So it was basically like going through each tone of the swatch and being like, okay, so this one can be like, I think the very brightest tone is kind of like a bright green. So it goes from like green to yellow to orange to pink to purple.
Damn.
Yeah, and with that, of course, you also want to sort of keep in mind like the light and shadow. So of course, it's easier to make the lighter part of that spectrum in like a kind of yellow or bright green, but like yeah, you wouldn't be able to have like the darker part of it be yellow, you know, and vice versa. You won't be able to have the lightest bit be purple or something. So yeah, I guess it just requires some like color theory knowledge and some Photoshop skills, but it's not too difficult. Yeah, do you have any like specific questions about this? I don't really know what to say about it.
I doubtlessly do. You'll just have to give me a moment. Yeah, I just have some like comments more than anything. You were saying, oh, we feel like everybody says this, like, oh, we just sort of crapped it out in some way, shape, or form. But I think that serves as a testament to the ability of everyone involved, because it is very balanced. Obviously, the coasters are great. This is a supporting ride. The like log flume is just fired straight down the middle, but that's what you need.
Yeah, it's pretty meat and potatoes.
And the result is that it was really good. You know what I mean? You probably weren't like filled with confidence like in the process of making it, but I definitely don't think that people were looking at it in such a way as to think it was like a cop-out, if you get what I mean. I think many people could like, I think I literally put in the Lonely Hearts Club group chat, I think I put in speed build detected. But that's about as far as the thought goes, because it's just so... It's efficient, isn't it? Like, you made a lot of, like, smart decisions to make it efficient. You know, the thought behind the white void and the, like, just cool stuff like this, like these fish swimming in these holes. Like, what does it mean? And that's...
Yeah, I guess, like, we did want to, like, have... Yeah, we also didn't want to give it like a really clear narrative. I know that might actually sound like a cop-out, but I do think...
I'm so sorry, it's cut out for me, Alex. Just go from the beginning of that thought, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, it might sound like a cop-out, but we didn't want to have like a really clear narrative, like, about this sort of world. Change vignettes and sort of people can interpret what they want. And basically, like, even though it was like a speed build, it wasn't like stressful. It was just like, oh, let's play around with this kind of these visual effects and see what sort of looks cool. And like, yeah, it was just enjoyable to to mess with like a lot of lighting tricks. So things that I particularly liked were this kind of water glow along the edge. So instead of having just a plain white teal in like an object which has a very bright shading, so it's actually brighter than the void color itself. And that was another deliberate choice, was making it not like pure white void, but like slightly off white, so that we could then have some kind of highlights in there as well as shadows. And then yeah, it was fun to also mess with like architecture kind of dissolve. And so maybe most evident where these like Pueblo structures are, where you have like if you like rotate the camera once, you know, you have like some sort of staircase silhouettes and some lights and some windows and doors and this kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, architecture that I did on this map, but it was just fun. It was just like, this is really enjoyable to do this in even though it was like head to head, it all felt quite low stakes, because in a way we'd kind of like we'd sort of snatched our playoff spot. But yeah, it didn't feel like yeah, we weren't so competitive, let's say.
Yeah. And that's fair enough. You know, you should never be booting up the game like with resentment and stuff like that, because that's not why we're here. We're not doing this for cold hard cash, thank God. So we get to do the things that we enjoy.
I just saw a question about this 2-1 sign. I don't know, to be honest.
I think it's just a nice subject.
I think Hubru put it there.
Yeah.
I should.
I'm sorry, could you go from the top of that thought? Sorry, you said I should say, and then it cut out.
Yeah, like I built the coasters. I made a kind of vague layout. Maybe I like fleshed out most of this kind of Pueblo area, but
Damn, it really must be my internet.
Is it cutting out a lot still?
Yeah. What a nightmare. It just can't go well to save its life. If you just go from the top of that last thought, sorry. You're saying that you did the Pueblo area, and I think then was when it cut out, and I presume you were going to say that.
No, I was just going to say that Hoob really did most of it. Andrew did quite a bit around this like Tuscan area.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's fair to say most of it is Hoob's work.
What a legend. I think this is the sort of thing that you get when you get just like 3 of the best players in the game, and you know they view the situation as a challenge and meet the challenge as it is, and they achieve something fucking awesome. You know, just really clever decisions made. You know, like clever palette choices, and then thematic choices that are open-ended, so that you can sort of have a bit more of a question-based philosophy toward it, as opposed to I need to make this thing as clear as possible, otherwise we won't get the points. So it's really smart to take that route. Awesome coasters, great little themed areas, which all sort of culminate in a confusing and pleasantly pleasantly like almost like a sensory overload in insofar as like you're getting hit with a lot of information, and that's the real joy of it. You know, that I was just thinking then, the thing that it reminds me of is those old Japanese PlayStation 1 games. I don't know whether you've seen them, like LSD Simulator. Don't know if you've seen that for the PlayStation 1.
Nah.
Check it out. It's crazy. You'll get what I mean. But it's a real cool vibe.
The audio is really cutting out super bad, so I'm just gonna say bye. But yeah, cool to chat.
Amazing as usual. Goodbye, Alex. We love you. Apologies to everyone for my audio cutting out. What an absolute chaotic moment for everybody. It's not me, says Steve. Oh man, what a nightmare. Well, you will be able to see it in the recording. Hopefully people can hear. I'm recording through OBS. It's got all of my audio, that's for sure. What a nightmare. Bap boop, bap beep, bap boop, bap boop. I think I'll just wedge this into the middle, or should I leave it at the end? No, there's like a nice end on the actual live stream, isn't there? What should I do? I'll do a little bookend. I don't have to use it, do I? So, I'd like to give a big thank you to Morgan, Liam, and Alex for taking the time to come and talk to us about the Dam Busters. This was a big Dam Busters cheerleading moment. What a treat it was to get such amazing stuff from so many groups of builders. And something that I think is fun is the way that like now these builders are sort of like categorized to us, and we go, oh, they were the Dam Busters. Oh, they were the the Soda Jerks. They were the Lonely Hearts Club. When we start seeing all these like matchups appearing, working together again, because it seems like everyone got on an absolute dream. But without further ado, I will give my huge thanks to everybody at New Element. Thank you all for coming and watching, coming and like posing your questions to these guys, and making the vibes extremely excellent. Lots of love. See you soon.
Thank you, Sammy.